to our meetings regularly and kind of give us an update on what was going on. The fee schedule that goes on when inside the city of Utica. So I know, if you don't mind coming up, just so that you can kind of introduce yourself, like how long you've been there in the position, things like that. Here, I'll pass those out.
I'm having trouble with my PowerPoint, but I printed some out. My name's Josh Obreys. I'm the executive director for the Oneida Herkimer Solid Waste Authority. I took over for Bill Rabia once he retired. I've been with the authority for 20 years. I ran their operation, their landfill up north for years, and then I was deputy executive director for 2 years, right before Bill Rabia retired. And Bill was our leader for a long time. I brought Rachel Steele with me just to introduce her. Rachel is kind of, she's our front face for the Utica collection. She handles all the complaints, all the calls. She oversees all the billing. Any issues with the contractor, CWSI, pretty much all goes through Rachel. She works with DPW here and there, coordinating some green waste and things like that. So I just brought Rachel around because she really is our voice and our face when it comes to the collection.
And one of the concerns that I had was, number one, how much we pay compared to other areas,
Yep.
and what the collection is and things like that. So kind of give us a basis of where you started from and what you took over, and then go from there. And I appreciate you putting together this PowerPoint.
Yeah, so I mean, just a quick history, kind of on the collection. We've been working with the city for a long time, since 1988. And one thing, maybe for some newer council members, they may not realize, but Utica was one of the first cities to really do curbside recycling, which was a big deal. And that was part of one of the reasons that the partnership formed between the authority and the city. In order to talk about our system, we all got to understand it, and we know that we have a pay-as-you-throw. That's what it's called, a pay-as-you-throw system. So it's a completely self-funded system. We don't tap into tax dollars when we talk about our solid waste. Everything in the garbage collection is funded by two things: a user fee, which is an annual user fee, which is out there right now. We're getting them in, and then the bags. So every time you purchase a bag, you're not just purchasing a bag; you're purchasing part of the service for collection through CWSI. We have a 10-year contract with the city currently. That was in 2023, they signed a 10-year. So we are contracted with the city until 2033. So that'll bring us really up to probably the next contract with a new hauler. We'll go out to bid in 2027, but it starts in 2028. What we do for the city, what is it that we really do for the city besides sell blue bags? We procure the sale of the blue bags, we sell the blue bags, we distribute it to all of the vendors, make sure that we're getting paid from them with the blue bags. We have 2 solid waste inspectors that work with codes who check with, right NOVs. They make sure the contractors are doing what they should. They deliver blue bags. And then this time of year, they're just finishing up their inspections for the waste service charge. There are people who, whether it's a vacant lot or an industry who gets a dumpster, we have to verify that they don't have to pay the user fee. So there are waivers for the user fee. So those are some of the things that our inspectors do. In your packet, if you scroll, and this is one thing Samantha was kind of interested in, there's a slide and it says estimated annual cost per single family home. And I think this is really important because it really goes to show the value of the current system and how it's managed and what we pay. So, I grabbed a couple local communities. We also manage a lot of the villages down in the valley. Ilion, Mohawk, Village of Herkimer,
Columbia.
Dowdgeville, Columbia. Yes, you're right. I got it in there as Columbia. Obviously, they're a lot smaller, but we can compare it in price. So if you look, the city of Rome, I kind of put what services they get. And one thing with the city of Utica is I've never, after talking to a lot of people all over the state, there's really no other collection that get the services we get. I mean, when you look at what you can put out per week, I mean, most of us, if you took advantage of it every week, I don't think most places have enough road frontage to fit everything.
Can I just interrupt
Sure.
you for 1 second? So I think that part of the issue here, and what a lot of people don't understand, is that the blue bag costs keep that price down, because it's not just property
Right.
taxpayers that are paying that. It's actual, everybody that, whether they rent, whether they own, they're buying those blue
Right.
bags in order to supplement that cost. Now, and maybe you could touch base on this really
Sure.
quick. One of the questions that is brought up to me all the time: why can't we go to a container that's closed, and they don't have to worry about the crows going into the bags,
Yep.
or bad storm? Why not go to a single container type system?
We
So
can.
that's kind
know,
of the reason that I
Yep.
wanted to have you in here tonight, because that was the whole thought process behind this. Can we get to the
Oh,
point
yeah.
where we don't have to buy blue bags, and we can go to a containerized system and still have that annual cost per household for that? Do you need another one?
Here, I got it.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, we can. We can absolutely do it. And one thing I did, if you look in that packet, I actually attached kind of the villages, because we do a hybrid model there where you can either use bags or toters. But yes, we can. And we're actually at a point where it's actually a great time to have this conversation, because starting really this summer into fall, we need to start talking about the next contract. This time next year, we need to go out to bid for another 5-year contract. We like to bid it a year in advance. So, if toters are something that they want to look at, it's time to have the conversation.
Yes. So I want to tell you, I want to thank you first of all for coming, and for the people out there listening. We are probably that service that you guys provide is one of the best things that the city offers. My biggest concern is not so much the blue bag. My biggest concern is our recyclables. The recyclables in the orange bucket, and I know they don't give
Yep.
the orange bucket, now you buy your own container, but that alone causes the trash, the damage, and all that stuff way more than birds or anything attacking a blue
Yeah.
bag. The blue bag thing, if you made them a little bit better, they got flimsy a little bit, that to me, is just my opinion as a taxpayer, is not the issue. The issue is the recyclables. And then my other question to you is, I notice, is there supposed to be 2 separate people come? Somebody picks a blue bag, somebody picks recyclables?
Yes.
But then you have certain trucks that have both,
I mean,
correct?
there are some that have split body trucks,
Yes.
depending on
'Cause
what
I-
routes.
Yeah, I don't sleep good, so a lot of times I hear them coming, and I watch them throw both of them at the same time, and I've had people ask me that.
Yep, and we, to say we haven't had issues with that, would be a lie. But it is something we track. Probably in the last couple months, we have caught the current contractor mixing, and usually
So they're
it's-
not,
it's
that's not
because-
supposed to, I thought if they had a truck with 2 different bins,
If they have 2
that's
different bins,
okay.
yes, but if they have 1 bin, they cannot do that.
So is that contractor that takes care of it now supposed to pick up both on 2 different trucks, or
It doesn't,
how does
if
it
it's a
work?
split body, we call it a split body. One side recycling, one side's,
But CWSI
So I don't
picks, I'm
wanna-
talking, please.
I don't want to interrupt you, but it made
CWSI
sense when they bought the trucks and they originally started the
Yes.
contract, was they bought the trucks specifically so they could take garbage pickup and recyclables.
Right, and I just want to understand the procedure.
Yeah.
might not make sense in picking up.
so honestly,
I don't
what,
have no
what
problem,
usually.
I just want to know who's
Yes.
supposed to do what.
So CWSI does both the garbage and recycling, but usually they do it with 2 separate
Okay.
trucks. Garbage will come through, they'll collect the garbage first, and then hit the recycling. There are times where we've caught them, whether it's because of breakdown, something like that, mixing, probably just to keep up.
Right.
We do fine them for that, and they have to pay the bill on that truck. That does happen.
Right.
But yes, they are technically supposed to either have a split body truck that is compartmentalized with separate each, or 2 separate trucks.
All right, and my other question is, when there is an issue, like people call and half their garbage is in the road or whatever, I always call CWSI, and they come and take care of it for the most part.
Yep.
Is that who I'm supposed to call, or am I supposed to call you?
We'd prefer you call us.
Okay.
That way we know what issues are going on, and that was one thing I kind of want to stress with the council. If you're getting calls or you're getting issues, reach out to us. That way we know exactly what's going on, and we can kind of go after the contractor accordingly.
I had a question.
Sure.
Why don't you let them present first, then ask
Well,
the
just
questions?
in the case where if you were gonna use a regular garbage can instead of the blue bag, what would you do? Would you rent them cans? Because you'd be losing the monies that you'd be making on the blue bags.
So usually what you'd have to do is in a city like Utica, like Syracuse just went to Toters, but they do a service fee one time a year. So it's a pretty astronomical fee to pay for their residents.
You would need 2 toters, though, right?
Yep, so you'd get a recycling toter and a garbage toter.
Right, yeah.
And then in terms of billing, you'd basically either have one large user fee depending on, on the cost of the contract, or you'd break it up into, you'd bill residents twice a year. What we do for the valley is we bill them quarterly, the folks, but it's obviously a lot less billing, it's a lot less labor intensive. So for something like the city, you'd probably bill them twice a year.
Does anybody have both the toters now? They use one for recycling and one for garbage?
For the city of Utica?
No, I know not the city of Utica. I'm just saying, does anybody do that, and how's that work?
It works good. To be quite honest with you, one of the things we found in if you look at some of the current trends in our area, we've lost a lot of haulers. There are not haulers beating down the door to jump into this contract. So a lot of haulers actually prefer having, the toters with one for recycling and one for garbage.
Because what we see, and I'm sure everybody will agree, wintertime, last night in South Utica, the rain, we're hit. I mean, they're putting them out in those little containers, and we're hitting them, and it just makes everything harder. So, I mean, for us as DPW, the 2 toters would be awesome.
Even residents, when they call, we urge them to get containers with tops.
Right.
Years ago we did those orange buckets, and it amazes me how many are still out there, with duct tape and
Right.
Every neighbor collected
But
them
the
back.
address is written on it, and then your
Yeah,
don't add
but,
up to the house.
But the thing was, I think people are used to that's what I have to have. So when we speak to residents, we really do push them to buy it. You can buy a bigger container, because really your recyclables by volume are probably more than that will hold everything with a top. We do try to push that. And maybe it's a campaign that we could kind of run with, this summer.
Commissioner, would you say, and what you're saying, the biggest problem, though, it's not really the blue bags,
It's not the blue bags at all, it's the recyclables. Especially when we're coming in to plow at night,
Right.
and it's a certain area, you can see
Yeah.
the look on that plow driver's face that he's dealing with those.
And this winter was tough because for a lot of people, there was very little places for them to put their containers out, except the road. But we do push that with tops and containers.
So as long as I'm opening my mouth, so I remember like about 3 years ago, when I was on the council, I was in favor of doing the recyclables, okay, in the bins. They basically told me that, which would have been a great thing if we used the ARPA money and spent that and bought it. It roughly was about $850,000 for the city to get recyclables. Is that correct? It's probably more.
It's
I think
it's probably like 1.5 now.
Now, but I think that's why I'm saying to get 2 recyclable bins would almost be, you're talking $3 million.
Yeah.
But I think if we focused on one to start with, and keeping the blue bag thing, because the recyclables, to me, is all over, especially in the inner city, especially all over the place. That causes all our pickups.
You don't have to do this. So you supplement, can you explain how you supplement the cost per year and how that would actually work if you went to 2 containerized items on what it would be for the residents and how that cost would affect the residents in the city?
Yeah, so if we supplied the containers, so if the city decided to, supply the recycling containers. And we actually do this in the valleys. For the bag, people, they have bag customers, and then the hauler supplies every person with a recycling tote. So, depending on how you bid it, we could make it so the hauler covers it, so it's in the bid, and then it's, it's a fixed number in that bid. It could be an add-on. Hauler supplies the bins and maintains them. One of the biggest things with those bins, maintaining them is pretty labor intensive. You don't think it, but it's amazing how many tops crack, wheels fell off. But, we could make it so in the bid, or we could do it so the city or the authority, we purchase the bins, and then the cost of that would just be reflected in the blue bag price and the user fee. It might drive that up a little bit, or over time, it's a big initial cost up front, but over time, you could spread that out.
The one thing I would ask, I'm sorry, I'm Marcus, I'm the commissioner, but just to add to this conversation, because you guys are talking about it, if you vote for it, it's gonna affect what we do. The problem that we're seeing in codes is tenants will avoid buying the blue bags. So they'll throw stuff in their neighbor's bag and leave a mess over the lawn, or they'll just throw it out of their window, or put it in an alley, or put it on a bag that doesn't get taken, and then they'll throw it on a city lot.
Yep.
So if you went to the totes, we would hope that that would avoid some of the avoidance. Because
It would be a headache for us because it would contaminate the recycling. Because
No, I'm saying if you went to a tote instead of a blue bag.
okay, yeah.
But you would have to have two separate totes, that's what the original conversation was.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So what he's saying is if you only did recycling, I'm saying that doesn't solve our problem of avoidance.
No, and that's why this whole conversation started, just to see what the cost analysis
Right,
would be.
100%.
To see what it would be per year, because, if you
Sam's
look
got
at the total overall picture on what we pay to outside areas, we're lower than anybody.
So if you look at
Minus the
that,
city of Rome.
No, I know why you're talking. I just wanted to add that part of the problem that we have with bags and totes is that people try to avoid them, and that problem probably wouldn't exist with totes. That's part of all of your calculation with everything else that you have to
Right,
consider.
but it has, because it can't be astronomical, because even if $3 million in totes gets divided, you just wanna know how much it's gonna be.
Exactly, yeah, and I have no comment on it.
so one thing, if you kind of look through that, the packet I gave you too, I did put in our audit from last year. So the one thing with the cost, say you went all to totes, just hypothetically talking, the cost for those totes would eventually, they would be a lot more than the blue bags, but you think about the cost of blue bags, we sell over 1 million blue bags a year for the city. So there is a cost. There's probably a $300,000 cost a year. So you put that over a 5-year period, just the cost of the blue bags, some of that cost can be, offset by the cost of the totes. The only difference is you're paying for those totes up front.
What's a tote cost?
Roughly $65, $65.70. It depends on it, on.
I just had one
Model
follow-up
size.
question. One follow-up question too before we get back into the PowerPoint. First, Rachel, it's nice to put a face to the name because we've had a lot of conversations, and thank you because when someone reaches out, we pass it along and the issue's handled in less than an hour. So first of all, thank you for that. Second, to follow up on Councilman Beatrice's point about the containers with lids, and as you were mentioning, have you noticed, I guess to the extent possible to track, have you noticed more containers with lids being put out in front of houses? I mean, I don't know how that would be tracked, but
No. And maybe it's because I'm always drawn to those orange containers, but I don't think we don't see it.
You can't get orange containers anymore than light.
No, you can't. Right.
Either way.
They're like gold.
I got you.
Yeah, I haven't noticed it, to be honest with you.
No, I mean, I think, and to your point, I think you mentioned somewhat of a campaign to get the awareness out. When we found out about it, that all you had to do was go to get the stickers and put it on the bins. I mean, it's been, it's very helpful when you have, when you're able to get it with wheels too. So, no, thanks.
Yep.
My only issue on that, if you had the totes, there's some people that are gonna save money and there's other people who are gonna lose money. Like, I barely use any garbage because I'm never home. And if I have one small blue bag, it's a lot.
Yep. And that's one of the biggest issues, and that's one of the biggest complaints we've always got of switching it, is that, the older folks or, a single person that's paying, a larger amount for, you know, the whole idea is pay as you throw, so it can defeat that purpose a little bit.
How does it work, how would it work for like two-family houses, who would buy the landlord or the tenant buy the landlord, right?
It would be the landlord, because that's who we bill the user fee to.
Right.
So then the cost would be passed down through rent or whatever.
Which makes that higher because the landlord was only responsible for the annual cost per household,
Mhm.
not the actual blue bags.
Right.
So that's why, I mean, even if you gave the option, and I think part of the problem is that we've seen a lot of garbage. I mean, we had a very long winter.
Yeah.
And there's just garbage everywhere. And not saying it's to the fault of any single person at all, like, right, like it happens. It's a winter night, say a plow truck hits a garbage
Yeah.
bag. Like now, the whole city's filled with litter. And we haven't had a winter like this in a very long time, which makes it, you know, back to the original reason why I wanted this discussion to happen. Because it has been a long time since we
Really discussed it.
actually looked at these numbers and seen where we were.
And I think what's important is we're at a point where it's the right time to really look at it and address it. You know, so you know, if moving forward, if you look at, if you kind of scroll through, you know, the last bid we did, we offered basically the same service but with toters. So we offered the existing service with blue bags, and then we offered a second option in the bid where it was the same thing but with toters. But the city bought the toters up front, not the contractor. So if you see that price, that's, you know, they're pretty close in price, the two options, but that's not with the contractor buying the toters, that's with the city buying and maintaining the toters.
That's where the 800,000 came. But that, there should be three options, shouldn't there?
Yeah, and then there's another one with green waste.
Well, shouldn't there be an option where if you had one tote and blue bags for the garbage, tote for recyclables, or you could have two totes, one for each,
Yep.
or, you know. So.
And that's, you know, we can bid it that way. You know, to be honest with you, like I said, a lot of trash companies, they like the totes because it's all automated, less workers' comp claims, but we still have all the other things we offer, the C&D, things like that. You know, so you know, that's always, we offer, you know, the city of Utica offers amazing things, but going down the road from cost, it may be time to also look at, does it make sense cutting some of that? You know, I'm kind of jumping around, but you know that under the estimated annual cost, we just bid this fall, Ilion, and I like to point that out because they saw a 50% increase in their collection. So if you buy 2 bags a week, on average, their bags are $6 a bag.
We increased them like maybe 10 cents.
Yeah.
20 cents, 30 cents since like 2000.
Yeah, $1.90.
Yeah.
And they had to go up to $6 a bag.
Now,
So
what was the reasoning for that, if you don't mind me?
it was, you know, that contract was bid in 2020, and it was a really low price, 5-year contract, and just the cost of everything since that was bid was, everything doubled. Labor, trucks.
You could potentially see our costs doubling possibly if there is a bit.
I would say closer to 30-40% would be what I would
So I
anticipate.
guess that goes back to my point, like again, the whole reason why I came here, is that if you go to those containerized 2 totes per household, you can still continue to put out what you need for, you know, recyclables, bulk item, electronic. That price could probably still be around that same
Yeah,
price range, which with that 30% to 40% increase.
Yes.
With less aggravation of having to buy blue bags. So that was kind of my question, because it was way cheaper to keep those blue bags 10, 15 years
Yeah.
ago than it was to have those.
And it was, but I think what else I'm saying is, you know, there's a cost for the blue bags and there's a cost for the totes. One of the main differences, you're paying the cost for the totes up front. So over time, what you'd pay for the blue bags, it's less, but it wouldn't be quite as much when you looked over the 5-year period.
But the other thing that comes into play is, so I use 1 bag a week. There's certain times in spring and stuff that I might have cleaning out. You could put anything in there. You might have 4 bags. What do you do that week when your tote is filled? You don't have room.
A lot of it is you get your tote a week.
Right.
That would be it. or you'd have to come down to our facility.
But you're
You know, so you are limited.
There's a lot of people that put 2-3 bags of garbage
Oh, yeah.
out a week.
Easily, easy.
Mhm.
The problem I got with the totes is, if you buy the tote for $65,
Mhm.
they're gonna start being stolen by people that didn't buy it.
Yeah.
And that's definitely gonna happen.
We see that everywhere. You drive down Ilion, you know, neighbors are fist fighting over their tote, you know, and that is a huge problem.
But they steal the garbage bags, never mind the
Yeah.
totes.
You know, one of the issues with the totes too is it is more labor intensive. So you'd probably have to hire 1 to 2 people to deal with the totes.
If I wanna buy my own tote,
You can do that now for
I can get it, I'm talking about for instead of a blue bag. Can you give us a sticker that you can put on there that's garbage?
They got the recycle, but you still have to buy the blue bag and put it inside the tote.
Yeah. So we have a lot of people that do that, where they actually put their blue bags in a trash can.
So I can't just skip the blue bag and
No.
because then you guys won't make any money.
No, no.
Well, you also don't want nasty garbage without, I mean, they go,
Mhm.
and one of the things is, can you explain the process of once you pick up the garbage and then when it goes to your facility, how you separate everything? Because once it's in the blue bags, it doesn't mean that they just dump it into one. They rip it open, they go through each individual item.
Well, for the trash, mostly the trash, we don't.
Well,
We-
'cause if people put the right things that they're.
Right,
supposed to,
right. But as for recyclables, I mean, we still use a lot of hand sort
It's gotta be fun.
labor to go through that material. So you know, that's why, you know, education and getting people to keep. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, we could write a book what we've seen come up that line, but you know, just to protect our employees.
And that was gonna be one of the things I asked as well, is that after this is all done, if we would like to schedule a tour of the facility, I've been to the
Yeah,
facility,
absolutely.
I've seen your operation,
Mhm.
I know what you guys do, and it's mind blowing.
And we've actually, you know, we've added quite a bit in the last couple of years. We've tried to get away from some labor, more robotics. So we're starting to kind of get into some more of
I
that.
think the last time I was there, they were testing between the robotics
Mhm.
and, you know, physical labor
Yep.
as well still, so that would be.
Yeah,
great,
absolutely.
If we can schedule one of those
Mhm.
in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and you know, I think, you know, I put my card attached to those packets. So if anyone has any questions or wants to email me. But I think moving forward, this is a good start for us to kind of look at the bids and then come up with some options. And we could kind of reconvene. We could come back in early fall and kind of go over those options. If that's something, I think it would be useful. That way we're ready for the bid. And then from now till then, you know, suggestions, we're open to kind of look and see what those options would be.
And part of the reason, like, you go to a new council every couple of years, so as long as we have some, you know,
Mhm.
information that we can provide to the next person, that's
Sure.
also important as well.
Mhm.
So that discussion starting early this year would probably be the best. case
Okay.
scenario.
Perfect.
I just had a couple questions. So the portion of the packet beginning breakdown by class, the class 1, 2, 3, the full exemption, 736. Can you explain that a bit?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a full exemption would be if you're a business who has, who contracts a hauler to come, or if it's a vacant lot. You know, we have some people that own vacant lots or businesses. You know, so with the exemptions, we've just finished the period where they fill out an exemption form, and then we send our inspectors over to basically confirm that they have to supply us with what hauler they use, if they're using a hauler, and we just make sure that they're not taking advantage of our services and not paying that user fee.
Okay, thanks. And then my second question, 2 to 3 issues that you encounter that if these 2 to 3 issues were solved would impact the overall efficiency and just make garbage collection smoother in the city of Utica. What do you see as the top issues that can be addressed and solved? Not to put you on the spot, but
Sure.
just yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, one of the biggest issues right now is labor and truck drivers. That's just an industry standard. I'm sure Mark sees it with DPW. We see it with our guys. So that's a huge issue that obviously really hurt us this past fall and winter. Was a huge issue. You know, the other issue is probably the proper containers. You know, we still see, you know, sometimes folks will, you know, for all different reasons, you know, they'll use a 3-sided container or a container that's duct taped, where it makes it really hard for throwers and pickers to pick up, or, you know, just to keep and contain recyclables, and not using the proper size. You know, most of us, we see those orange bins, they overflow. You know, so from a you know, and then the other issue is just cleanliness. You know, that's a hard thing in our industry. You know, it's hard to keep trucks clean. You know, trucks, you know, when you're constantly running them, and those are things that with the contractors we're always, you know, it's always a battle with everyone.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I see, I just got this today. I see you have a contract with the city here,
Mm-hmm.
and you compete with other companies do the same thing, right?
No, we don't.
You don't?
No.
Then if you have a contract with the city of Utica, according to this, doesn't expire for 7 years. And I presume it has a lot of written detail in it.
Mm-hmm.
Who sets the price of a blue bag?
We do with council approval.
Yeah.
So we recommend,
so-
council approves.
So I'll get to my question.
Sure.
My question is, why are you here?
Well, I'm here because,
With all due respect,
This contract
Judge.
has 7 years.
no, it's only got 2.
Well,
Oh,
according
our
to this,
contract,
I'm saying-
our contract has 7 years.
Well, what is this? It says.
Judge, with all
10
due
years,
respect, I
the
mean, they
city
can come in
just
anytime and
a
ask for a
second.
blue bag increase
Sure.
tomorrow.
Just a second, because I am looking. It says
Oh,
the
don't let
10-year
me-
contract with the Utica Authority, April 1, 2023, extended to April 1, 2033,
Mhm.
which is 7 years from now.
Yes.
So, again, my question, why are you here?
Well, we're here to, because, well, first of all, Sam did it just
Are you
to,
looking for an extension?
no.
Are you
We're,
looking for an increase?
no. We're just here to educate and talk about, so we manage the contract.
Yes, I know.
We don't pick up the waste.
You pardon me?
We don't collect waste. So we manage the contract for the city.
Yeah.
And the reason we're here is because we need to start talking about, you know, within a year, we're gonna go out to bid for a new contractor to pick up the waste.
You pick up the waste.
Yes, so really, it's to get the conversation started on what changes the city would like to see in their waste collection.
Well, and also, new contract to pick up the waste, and I presume that the blue bag is still in the offering.
Yes,
Yeah, so, and the price will be set at the time of that contract?
yeah, it all depends what that contract comes in at.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
You've answered my question. Thank you very much.
Anyone else have any questions?
No, is there, the only,
Councilmember Master?
is there anything else that you want to go through with your PowerPoint that we didn't touch on? I know we skipped all over the place.
No, I think we got everything. You know, and part of it is, again, I think the whole point is to start the conversation. I'm glad Sam reached out. And it's great for me to get introduced. I appreciate that. So again, if you have any questions or
I
anything.
think we have one over here,
Yep.
Councilmember Master.
I want to thank you for coming, and I get a lot of calls because people put the garbage out at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's not picked up until sometimes 3, 4 o'clock the following morning. And then what happens, the wind comes and it goes on the neighbors, and the neighbor says, I'm not picking it up, and they pick it up and throw it back on the yard, and nobody picks it up. And do you govern that?
Yes, we do.
You know,
In terms of that issue, we had a lot of issues this fall. You know, late this fall into early winter, and there was a lot of reasons why. Whether it was, you know, a lot of it was staffing, and then the weather came in, and that when you're doing something like this, it's hard. But I have to say, you know, we monitor when they're done with collection. We get notified. Really, in the last 3-4 weeks, they did get the company that handles it got some new management, And I can say without a doubt, it's gotten a lot better. And I think it's going to continue to get better. But to say there wasn't an issue would be a lie. And I think we do monitor it. We do push the contractor. It was a very stressful winter/fall. But I think with the new management that the current contractor has, they've been able to retain a lot more employees, keep employees. We had some nights where, the temperatures dipped pretty low and, not many guys would show up. So there was a lot of issues this winter, and I can truly say that moving forward, and I hope some folks can see it, it has gotten a lot better than where we were, in December.
He's talking about specifically though putting out garbage early. And
Oh.
how do we enforce that?
So that's good.
We'll
So
call
about
Sean,
a year.
or Colt will do it.
Yeah.
Right. But the problem is that we have with the garbage put out early is a lot of times it's hard to attribute because the person putting out the garbage isn't always the person that owns the house.
Yep.
So sometimes it's like a tenant, and we'll have to call the landlord, and the landlord's got to watch the tenant. Some people go to work early. Some guys are truck drivers, so he drives a truck. He puts it out on Wednesday, and because he's leaving for that night for a week. And then some of it is just avoidance, right? Some of it is they miss the garbage truck on their day, they put it on somebody else's lawn, so they have to hold the garbage.
And that was one thing, we met, a year and a half ago, probably, and that was one of the biggest topics we talked about. So what we started to routinely do is we ended up getting more door hangers and issuing more notice of violations. So our inspectors, we changed up some of their schedule. So now we have an inspector that will deliver bags in the morning, and then his duty right after that is to start tagging people who have early putouts.
Oh, very good.
I'd like to know the people that do the garbage at 8 in the morning doesn't have garbage the rest of the day when they know they're coming that night.
Honestly, we do a notice of violation. They call us, they complain, they don't do it again, or they'll say, I'm on vacation. Those aren't the real people we want to target. It's the every week are the people storing their blue bags at the curb. Those are the people that we're really targeting. So yeah, there are those instances. We give them a warning, and you don't see it again.
So we have a couple questions. Councilman Beatrice,
Yeah,
then
I
Councilwoman
just got one
Maslowski.
thing I just want to verify for the people out there, I understand it. So, like when the judge up there was talking about there's 7 years left on the contract, there's 2 people that are in a contract. Solid Waste has a
Yes.
7-year contract, but there's a second fashion, which is CWSI, that is gonna be, they're the pickup.
Yes.
You guys run the show, but Solid Waste does the pickup, so I just want everybody to
Yep,
understand that.
CWSI does the pickup, we do yes.
Right, okay, thank
We
you.
administer the contract.
Councilwoman Maslowski.
I just have a quick question. First, thank you for coming tonight.
Sure.
As someone new on the council, I appreciate this. So thank you, Sam, for setting that up. I just have a question. When people call, there's Sean, I believe, who said who.
Yes, Sean's
What is
one of
that
them.
direct number? So I can put that out there?
Yeah,
just
what's
so
the
I can,
Utica number?
if you could just get that,
Yeah,
just so I can
730-229.
put that out.
We'll send it over.
Okay.
Yeah, or you can use the 733-1224 number right
Yeah.
on my card.
And just
number
that,
will-
and it'll go.
Yeah, that'll go through.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. And we would prefer, please, if you talk to people, have them call us. That way we track the complaints, we track the calls. It gives us a really good idea of what's going on. Yeah.
For the one last question, is everybody else set for?
I got one.
Councilman
I got one
Carcone has
that
one over here.
Bob's thing. I think some of the people more in the wintertime put their garbage out in the morning, because when they leave for work at 8 and 9 o'clock, when they come home, it's dark.
Yeah.
So they just probably want to get it done before they go to work and come home in the dark, and have to do it in the dark. I mean, you'll probably see more of that in the wintertime than summertime.
And I think Bob's point was, is that they put it out, and then it's supposed to get picked up at a certain time, right? Like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And because they're behind on that schedule, they don't pick those up until the following day, 3, 4 o'clock, and then we got a call. I think I messaged you. Whoever does your Facebook page does a phenomenal job too, because they're pretty
Yeah,
good at it.
Eileen's good.
Questions. The one last thing that I wanted to state is, years back, we went from actual blue bags to the, not the actual blue bags, and we went to the recycled blue bag. And a lot of the complaints were that the bags would get ripped very easily. Can you explain that if something like that does happen and they do have a bad roll, that they can bring it back to?
Yeah.
In order to get it replaced?
One of our frustrations is we honestly don't get a lot of complaints on the quality of bags, but then when we talk to people, that's the first thing, you know, in general conversation, that's the first thing they bring up.
Throwing the garbage out.
And it's a difficult
A
thing.
lot of times they overstuff it.
Right,
So
right.
then they do break.
When you go to
But we
tie,
did, I mean, they might be getting a little better with the recycle
But-
bags, but there was a problem.
But there was. We actually, during COVID, lost one of the best manufacturer of the bags that we had. So we go between these two other bag companies. And when you're selling 1 million bags, there are defective rolls. So what we tell people, and you know, it's hard because you have to tell them something you don't want people to take advantage of. But if they get a defective bag, if there's an issue with it, they can bring it back to the store and exchange it. And then
Full of garbage.
that's the problem. And that's the problem.
But they would know if the bags
And-
are ripped, if the
and we
ties
would-
are broken off or something like that.
And we want people to call us because if there's a defective roll of the bag, we can go change it out.
You have to check.
But thank you for coming.
Sure. And then if you've got any more questions, don't be afraid to reach out.
The only thing is obviously for the council, what would be a good day for everybody? Maybe a Tuesday? Obviously after spring break, maybe the
Yeah.
week of the 13th, the week of the
Mhm.
that following week. Because to go visit, to do.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, so just.
Yeah,
just to give
we're
them an
flexible.
idea. Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, whatever, I mean, I hope earlier during the week, and then we'll get.
Do we have to come as a group, or can we?
No,
No, you can come
You
individually.
can come
But I just
individually,
don't
you
wanna
can-
waste their time if we
Yeah.
go on two separate groups and, you know. and-
You know, I'm down there quite a bit, so it's not a big issue.
And I'm sorry that we gotta wait this long, that we're,
Oh, it's-
keeping one another, so.
It's
I
fine.
appreciate
It's
it.
just as much my fault. So, all right, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Hey,
Marcus.
So it's about 5:45 now. We have about 15 minutes, but in follow-up to Councilman Beatrice's point about the smaller containers overflowing, I think it might be worth looking into if CDBG money can be utilized to maybe fund a certain number of the larger containers with lids throughout the city. It's maybe some kind of program where people sign up for, and there's a certain amount allocated to possibly do that. Because to your point, I think that would solve one of the bigger issues that we see of the overflowing garbage. So maybe just food for thought as we move forward, just something to consider to see if it might fall into the criteria that those funds might be utilized for.
what I would suggest, right off the bat, keep those bags. It's up to you.
That's the point, for the recyclables, exactly. The overflow recyclables, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
tell the resident to buy a container with a top.
Right, I do.
That's the easiest.
I have a container with a top plus the
Right,
overflow.
that's
but
not the
that's not the
problem. Right
issue.
now, because we offer the blue bag service. So a lot of people don't know, and that's why he was just explaining that he could actually, they could do a better job campaigning and stuff like that to try and get people to go to those.
And we can do a better job telling people to pick their garbage up.
I agree.
Put it out
I
later,
agree
so
wholeheartedly.
give me a quote.
I'm not disagreeing with that. But Rock, it's not easy, it's not that easy to just, brush your shoulders. We do have to settle a contract, and if they go out for bid, we gotta see the cost analysis, on what the increase would actually be. So that's I appreciate that. I've got nothing else for this meeting.
All right, we could transition out of this. We have less than 15 minutes if we want to go over anything that's in committee or any other city business
As long
that...
as we have- Can we do the updates that they had for the vacant housing and the derelict properties?
I saw that
I would
something
rather
came
do
out.
that
Do you
if
want
we
to...
had lawyers.
Oh, yeah, they're not here.
If we had lawyers, I mean, I can talk to you about sort of the operation of it,
What are we talking
but there are two new laws.
The
So it was,
legislation and
Do you want to give us
vacant
maybe
housing.
just a broad overview, and maybe we could set up a
Yes.
committee meeting for something
I can give you
tighter?
a broad overview, but again, it happened mostly in.
It's Ordinance 16 and Ordinance 15 in our packet.
Okay. So what do we?
All right, so our codes commissioner is going to give us the broad overview of
I was
what's in
just
committee. Was
curious
it
what-
ordinance number 16?
Yeah.
You said?
I saw the updates for the vacant building, but the derelict properties, I just kind of wanted a briefing on from your standpoint.
All right, guys, we're going to get an update from codes commissioner here.
And this is in regards to what's
So-
on the books actually.
So what's on the books now is a vacant housing law that, I think this particular one was modeled at Schenectady. A bunch of different municipalities in New York State had them. We've been over it before, never got enforced. There were parts about it that, the mayor didn't like our version of the law and the city's version of the law, and there was labor issues, and so he said, let's go to the table, let's put all the interested parties together and try to figure out how to solve problems that I think are still unsolved here. And
Very quickly, can you just explain when this law was introduced and when it was put on the books and how it kind of went from one administration to the next? Do you
Yeah.
know the history on that?
22 or
You gotta
20
Explain your issues with the law, because I know there was some issues when it was originally passed.
Sure. So 22 or 23, the current vacant law we have was put on the books. We went through presentations. Some people on the council were here. It ended up passing the council. We met with other cities and how they do it and stuff. Our biggest issue in codes was with what we already have. I told the council at the time, and they voted for it anyway. And I told the administration at the time, with the staff that I have, unless there was more money put into the staff, I don't think I can do it. Like, it's physically a lot more work than people said. So at the time, she's not here, but at the time, the council was like, don't worry, the clerk will do it. It's like, no, it's not that easy of a process. It's very involved, and we still haven't figured out the labor issues. So like I said, that's part of what the mayor addressed, and but he also didn't like some of the functionality or text of the law. And so he asked law, and he sat down there, and they came up with these 2 different registries instead of 1. So there's a vacant housing registry and a dilapidated housing registry. And the dilapidated housing registry holds the more severe sanctions, penalties.
And that's the one that we haven't done right now.
Those
Would
are
that be to the
we have them
amendment?
both in
Yeah, they're
committee.
both.
So, no, what I'm saying is that the dilapidated one.
15 and 16.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
The second
I
and
got derelict.
Derelict, sorry.
Okay, sorry.
I
just
screwed
wanted
up.
to make sure.
Yeah, so there's a derelict one in and a vacant housing one in, and they're both in committee.
So the derelict one goes very specific into what you can do in order to update that. And I think that when we were originally trying to amend the actual city code, part of that was an ordinance amending section of the city code ordinance determine an unsafe building. That would be the one that I was trying to amend the code. I think that what the derelict one does is also includes that to that vacant registry and coincides.
So there's 2 separate registries now. If you pass both of these,
It's not right, okay, yes.
If you pass both of these-
You would have to rescind and replace the
the
one that's on
current
the
one,
book now.
and there would have to be
Yes.
2 separate registries. And then from a codes commissioner standpoint, I would look at them as 2 different things. One's a vacant housing registry, one's a derelict property registry, and we would try to maintain and keep and.
Can
do the
you
work.
enforce these?
That's gonna be the talks that we're gonna have to have. I mean, the mayor, I think he's committed to seeing it and get through, and I can do anything. It just becomes a question of, priorities, resource allocation, funding, and so he says if we get him through, he knows where we would need to improve, and we're gonna try to do it.
I mean, which one, you just, all right, so let's go back. Which one do you think could be enforced more, that would hold more weight? The one that's on the books or the derelict property registry?
So what's on the books is sort of like, it depends on what we're given. I think that's the question. The one that's on the books is irrelevant to me, kind of, because it's been here for a while. It's 2 years old.
We had that-
Isn't it the goal to pass both?
The goal of the administration is to pass both.
Right, okay, it's not
Right.
either.
It wasn't like an either or. It's to replace what's currently there, so to rescind that,
Right.
and to pass it with both of these new registries.
So he wants a derelict and a vacant?
Yes.
So I guess what's the difference in that? And are you doubling the work that it's gonna take you to do those things? Because me personally, I'd rather see one or the other.
That's why I said I'd rather have,
Yeah, this was meant to be a broad overview. You mentioned you want court counsel
and that's
there.
why I'm telling you, I don't mind
Yeah,
talking,
all right.
but I would rather have, I can give Codes' perspective, but the mayor's gonna give his perspective of why he thinks 2 is better, and the lawyers will give their expense of why they think they're legally. I can tell you what's different, but I can't give you sort of like an administrative interpretation of, you know what I mean?
I mean, I understand, I guess, and why don't you just put them under?
The same law, and then you have the vacant registry, which really doesn't technically doesn't have to be a derelict property. right?
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you just put them under the same and then have a vacant property and derelict property, and obviously underclassified, two different things?
Because they're two different things, so we would need two different registries. So I can give you the short of it, of like what I was told and how it went through. So the vacant registry is, we've had problems with people breaking in, creating fires. We have to monitor more. There's a real cost to us monitoring vacant housing. So there should be a fee associated with leaving your property vacant for a period of time, right? Because those are the houses that we have public safety issues with, that we have to devote resources to. We have with zombie properties, banks holding mortgages, they're often in LLCs, so we can't take them to court. So this was a way of saying, occupy or sell your house, or pay a higher fee for all the services that that house is gonna take. The derelict property was, the mayor is concerned about blight, and he's saying our biggest problem isn't the vacancies, it's the blight. And some people leave their houses vacant and they look nice, but that doesn't address the blight. So I want you to, people that have chronic, have 3 code violations in 1 year, 2 unresolved, I wanna put them on a more punitive registry, because that will address blight.
And that's what the
Yes.
derelict one does.
Yes.
It's actually not more work though, because you're gonna go with the same codes, guy's gonna go to the house. He's either gonna use this or that. So it's not like he's going twice.
I think having 2 registries is a
Well,
little
first of all, somebody has
crazy
to,
in my opinion.
So
but
first of
it's
all,
not.
and we will resource it. First of all, somebody has to document all of these things and put it in a physical registry. So if there's 2 registries, then the address, the secretary has to set it up, put it in the registry, put the contacts, put the evidence from the case in. We need pictures, we need notices and orders, we need to prove that we had notification, we need origin of calls, right? So that's, for each registry, we would have to do that. So vacant, you gotta prove it's vacant, you gotta say there's no utilities, right? We have to say, we have a neighbor deposition that says nobody lives there. Our codes officer signed never seen anybody there. We have boarded windows. So we have to put all that evidence in with that property to say that property is vacant. For a derelict house, we gotta say, we have sent them 3 different notices and orders this year. We gotta keep track of all 3 of those notices, prove that they were true, and then 2 of the violations aren't fixed, so we put them on the derelict property. Then when they get fixed, we gotta take them off the derelict property.
So I guess my point is, then what's the difference between that and a public nuisance abatement? And that goes back to my original point, and maybe this is how
Because
these.
this goes to the taxes.
Well, I mean, so does any component of our actual city
Well,
code
if
of
we abate
ordinances
a
if
thing-
we're abating it.
But this would be more structural, so we're not gonna abate a porch. So if your porch is broken, right, theoretically, you'll be put on a derelict property registry, and then there'll be a fine attached with,
I mean, maybe I'm talking apples and oranges, and maybe it's really not that big of a deal. I just don't know how we have a public nuisance abatement law on the books, and you could actually take the vacant registry that's there, look at the ordinance amending the Utica Code of Ordinances, which was when the original problem when I talked to the Public Safety Commissioner and added that component. If there are persons found inside, improper evidence of corporation counsel which allows emergency access to the building within. I mean, that would be an emergency, like a derelict property is not just a regular building. So I guess why wouldn't that go under the Code of Public Nuisance Abatement and?
well, because nuisance abatement is, so I guess it depends on what you think nuisance abatement is. So nuisance abatement, if there's a nuisance, the city has a right to abate it.
Right.
So we have to prove it's a nuisance, and then we abate it, right?
So let me ask a question. Right there, what's the difference between a derelict property and
Right,
and a nuisance?
so derelict, it's a code violation and not a nuisance. So.
But codes violations go into that public nuisance abatement. I mean, you have the police department, the fire department.
No, some of
Everybody
them-
are involved in that as well.
No, some of them, and you emailed me, but like a nuisance is like, you have a pest problem and it's spilling into the neighborhoods, right? That's like a nuisance. A derelict property is, you have chipping and peeling paint, you have a hole in your roof, your chimney's got a break off.
I mean, do you really think that that's a derelict property? I mean, I guess
Well, if
based
you
on the
have
definition.
2 of those 3 things, then you qualify for this list the way the law is written.
There's a lot of properties in the city that are,
Yes.
that are derelict. I
There
mean,
will be
that's-
a lot of properties on this list.
What would be the fines? I guess
They're there. The corporation council wrote it. Like I said, I don't always feel comfortable explaining the law because
Okay.
I'm not a
Right, then
lawyer.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, but they're in the legislation.
Are we gonna have a special meeting on these 2, Joe? Are you gonna-
We should have.
I thought they were gonna be here tonight, that's what we said. A committee meeting, we made.
Right. We need to have a committee meeting on these.
Yeah, so before
Bring
we,
our lawyers in and
before we wrap
hash
up,
it out.
before we wrap up now, well, before we wrap this one up now, I think we had a couple of topics the council wanted to discuss in future committee meetings. If you just want to schedule a committee meeting for 5 o'clock before our next April meeting, we could do that and then move forward.
Just gotta have a separate committee meeting and just go through it, so that you're not at a time constraint. You have each department head here, and then you don't have to worry about it. I mean, you don't wanna rush through it. I mean, it was nice to have, we had solid waste authority that took up almost 45 minutes.
This is
of
gonna
our time.
take more than.
More than an hour.
We could schedule it, we could certainly schedule a separate day at 3, 4 o'clock, whatever works.
Yeah, I'm good with whatever you guys decide, but they can't be an hour before our regular meeting.
Right.
All right, so any other order of business, or are we set to adjourn this one? Oh, Councilman Burmaster?
Yeah, I'd like to schedule a committee meeting besides that, because I've had some calls about the towing. And
About the what?
about the towing from the tow
The
trucks.
towing?
Towing.
I have not gotten one complaint, so this is the first I'm hearing about it.
Okay, I-
Who's that going through? Where are you getting your planes from? Is it through the police department?
I got one from J Auto, I got one from.
Right, but do we have any issues as far as the city goes? I guess Deputy Chief Holt, if you can
Well, yeah,
kind
our
of
vendors,
reiterate, is
the-
it more coming from the towing companies complaining, or is it a city problem?
So there were two towing issues that were dealt with by the police department this past 2 weeks. The first one came through County 911 Center, Shortino's Towing. So long and short, they obviously the 911 Center takes care of our tow rotation. It's totally promulgated by them. Everything is taken care of by them. They skipped Shortino's on the tow rotation, and it was by accident. They listened to all the recording. It wasn't on purpose. It was by accident. Shortino somehow figured that out, called county dispatch center, and talked to them about the issue. The County 911 Center told them that it's a digitized rotation. So they were unable to manipulate the software and put him back on top of the rotation. It would have screwed up everything. It wouldn't have been, just
So
wasn't.
he would've just got twice rather than.
Yeah, so his answer was, well, why can't you just tell the dispatcher that's working today, put me on top of the rotation? And the answer was, that's fine, but they work 8-hour shifts. So if you don't get a tow rotation in that 8-hour shift, the next dispatcher's not gonna know, and even if there is a pass down, it's gonna get there's gonna be a problem, right?
And here's the thing that aggravates me, is because they literally had one person on that tow rotation for the entire cycle, for the whole entire year. And we went and amended that, and then made sure that everybody was back on that tow rotation. So, I mean, a
anyway,
mistake is not done by the city of Utica, it was done by
It wasn't our
mistake.
mistake, it was theirs, but at the end of the day, we ended up getting it, we ended up saying, okay, we'll put him back on, just put him back on top for the 8-hour shift. Let's see if we can get him back the toll that he should have gotten, right? And that was able to happen, so it's a mute issue. It's done. It's all set. There was also another complaint through Jay's Auto. It came through the chief's office. It was very detailed. The traffic unit looked into it, found no violations. I don't have it in front of me. There's an investigation that was done. They did not find that whatever the complaint was, it wasn't validated. And that's really all I got.
And we also still haven't fixed their storage prices. I know that's something that the council had to do. That wasn't at you guys.
But I was gonna request.
We did do it a long time ago. They weren't happy with the storage
Well, 'cause
prices
you made
and
it
wanted us to amend them.
$45.
And it just, it literally got us to the whole reason why this tow rotation started to begin with was because under the Palmieri administration, they went to one towing company. Under that towing company, they signed that contract. It wasn't fair to the rest of the towers inside the city. So they had to breach that contract, because that was done in November before he left. They had to breach that contract. I think it was maybe 3 months into the new administration's new term that they had to break that contract. We went through it. They sat here. We went through everything. Everybody was fine when they left. And then all of a sudden, everybody starts getting complaints on fees and stuff like that. So I haven't received any complaints from anybody since then. So, I mean, whatever legislation anybody wants to submit, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But to say that there's an actual issue on the city's behalf is a problem as well.
First I've heard of it.
Exactly. 3 years ago.
I think it has to be that big of a problem.
I can get you more information on that complaint, because I'm sure there's probably things that I'm missing. I just don't have it in front of me. I know it was detailed. It was looked into, and they didn't find whatever the issue that was alleged. They didn't find any issue. Now, when I did talk to Mr. Shortino, he did allegate that there's there's plenty of other issues, but we didn't get into it. It was,
I think-
our conversation was totally about the mix-up with the rotation at the county.
I think we should, I still think we should hold the meeting just to let them hear them out and everything that's going on. I don't know if you guys feel that way. I know, but I wasn't there, and they've
And it-
reached out to
and it
some
was
of
the
us. If
first
they didn't
season
reach
of
out
it.
to all of you, doesn't mean that we just disregard it. They've reached out to some of us on the council.
And if nothing's
and
wrong,
I
I
feel
think, sorry.
we should give them that opportunity to be heard.
So, so given the time right now, I think after this meeting, so we don't cut too far into the pre-meeting conference at 6, we could follow up via email with the requests. The council member could pass it along. As long as we have a quorum, we could set those committee meetings up and discuss each of the topics that we're looking at.
Thank you.
With
And
that,
Councilman Beatar, last one is, I do want to call a committee meeting for the flock safety, but also I know UPD is here tonight, but we need to have engineering and IT part of that in the future as well.
Yes.
okay, and we could follow up on
Well, I'm gonna
on
put
that
my
to
2
schedule it.
cents.
Councilman Beatrice?
Yeah, I'm gonna put my 2 cents in on 2 topics. So as far as the tow truck goes, you guys wanna have a meeting, we have a meeting. But every time there is a mistake, there's no need to have a meeting. Obviously, we know what the rule is. The deputy chief just told us what happened. I mean, what are we gonna change? We've already had it. I guess if we wanna go so they can come and tell us, but he just explained it to us.
There's other issues.
So, well, that's not, okay, so what are we gonna do in 2 months when there's another? We're gonna keep having meetings about it?
I just don't know how you don't.
And
discuss
then
the council
lastly,
issues to even know what the issue is.
Lastly, Councilperson Aiello wants to call another meeting with engineering and all that, and I'm all for that. But if we're so concerned about what is being said to the police, then nobody should have went public and brought something out that we didn't know about. So I'm very glad that these guys came here tonight, and I'd like to get a quick version of it. And then if you guys want to call another meeting, I'm all for that. Thank you.
All right, and again, we do have UPD representatives here, so I suggest we adjourn this committee meeting, and then we could transition into our pre-meeting conference.
Motion to adjourn?
Well, I had one last thing. Deputy Chief, on this towing, are they gonna fix their software to make so this doesn't happen again? Are you addressing that with them at all?
So the mix-up was simply the dispatcher looked at, I was told it was late night, she looked at the rotation, and I'm assuming
Yeah, I
it's,
understand. I
1
mean,
through 15.
but-
She read it as precision was first, not
Right.
Shortino.
But they have a software package that you can't
He just told you
change
that they
that.
put them on the list.
No, they couldn't fix it.
So they just couldn't,
No,
they
they
didn't,
didn't.
their
They
IT
didn't
department,
rectify it.
their IT department wasn't able to,
I'd like to
wasn't
have
able,
them
they
in
would have
here.
had to do with like a software change to be able to,
I'd like to bring
to
them
be able
in with
to,
UPD.
to be able to, the rotation it was the rotation, they would have had to change the software to be able to get, Shortino's put back on in front, and it wouldn't screw up all the other rotations.
It's an issue
So,
with the software package.
yeah, it was just, they weren't able to do it.
So it's maybe I'll fix it.
a call and say we're even.
Well, he wasn't accepting of that, I mean, you know. So-
Just so you know, that when they talked to me and told me it was more than this complaint, and it's been going on for some time, and I figured if we could have a committee meeting, have the
Yeah.
UPD and the 911
Bob,
center.
no problem, but please have them forward the complaints before we actually have a committee meeting.
Well,
Because I
that's-
want to see how many complaints there actually are.
That's
Because
fine.
that
I can do-
legislation's
I
been on
can
the
do
book
that.
for a couple of years, and I haven't heard one complaint.
Well, I'm
And
just saying,
I was
I
actually the
got,
one that drafted
They
that
really don't
legislation
need
and
to
worked with
forward
those
their
guys
complaint.
for a number of months to get that where it was supposed to be.
I understand.
You know what
but
I mean? So,
I'm just
yeah.
saying, I
got
received
them
a lot
the
of
same
phone calls.
things, too.
I did, I don't,
We're
Again-
just talking about it right now. They call us.
If you
It's-
guys have a complaint, the rest of the council in this.
I
We're
just
doing
got
it
them
right now.
yesterday.
Deputy Chief Hall, has anybody from the council contacted you in regards to?
We
complaints that
just
they
got
received?
it,
I-
the information.
Again, I mean, I haven't been contacted, it's very possible that the chief has been, I don't know.
Okay.
So again, what we'll do from this point forward, we'll send email with a request, we'll establish a quorum, and then call a committee of the whole meeting on the specific topic that any council member would like to discuss.
All right, I'd like to take a 5-minute break and.
We
Motion to
gotta
adjourn.
adjourn this one.
Go ahead, Joe, I apologize. Go ahead.
Second.
Sorry.
All
I
right.
don't-
I'd like to start this meeting at 6:15.
to call this meeting in order. Thank you. Can I get a second? The first one, proposed ordinance number 1. It's an E&A transfer and street cleaning. Everybody good with this one here? Take a look. All right. Second one is, it's an authorization for sale of beer to Mount Carmel and the Blessed Sacrament Parish. Take a peek.
Thank you for putting this in now instead of calling a special meeting in the summer.
Everybody good? Yep. Next one, proclamation honoring the future stars of the Kresnik Soccer Club. Everybody go with that?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next one's an E&A transfer, fiscal year 25-26, controller for miscellaneous revenues for the Ski Hill project. Everybody good? Next one is a authorization supplement military leave. We're going to put that in committee, correct, Sam?
Yeah, yeah.
That one's going to committee.
The only thing that this does, is just to give everybody a heads up, is that it mimics what the county does. And it's for those that are on military leave. It would go from 22 days to 30 days. I get a full explanation on that.
Thank you.
And the last one is a resolution to approve the appointment of the Utica City Clerk's Record Access Officer for the City of Utica. You got somebody you hired for that, or
Me.
you're it? All right.
It's me. I'm going to designate Priscilla. She's been doing it for the past few years. So
Okay. Everybody go with that? And I got one more we're going to pull, but I'm waiting for our. Did you make a call on that? Our budget director, we're good on that? And I'm going to pull the last one. It's going to be amending the section 2-2624 regarding sewer, proposed in ordinance number 3. Okay, everybody good? All right.
Where are you pulling that from? It's in committee?
It was in committee, yeah.
Which number?
It's proposed ordinance number 3. Ordinance amending section 2-26-48 regarding sewer rents, yes.
The February 4th one. Sewer rent number 1, February 4th.
Right. I checked with the budget director, we're good
And then
on
we can
that.
dispense the other one, right?
We're going to get rid of the other one.
Sewer rent number 2.
Okay. Anybody else need to pull anything else out? Which one?
the last one. 5 on the bottom. You have to pull out.
Which one's that?
Impact fund.
Well, sale URA? Okay. Everybody go with that one? All right. Anything else? I'd like to close this meeting. Actually, I disregard.
we have conversation.
We have the police department here that we're going to discuss the shots issue that's been going around in the city here. Deputy Chief, would you like to speak on that?
Yeah, so we put together some fact sheets for the ALPR system. It explains all that. And then also the gunshot shot detection system. Both, flock systems. Pass them all out so everybody has that. We're really, here to just take any questions that anybody has regarding it, so we can maybe clarify something.
Do you mind if I have the floor for 1 second?
Go ahead.
Thank you. So the reason that I asked this summary to be here was some of the questions were, why did this get implemented? What happened to go from the spot shooter that we had to the flock system? In a basic summary of what the difference is, does it track people's voice recordings? I mean, we heard a number of things over the past few days, and I think it's imperative that the police department explains what happened, why it happened, and what's the difference between those. So that would be my only explanation, and then obviously any questions that I have after that explanation's done, go from there.
Yeah, so real quick, I know there was a little confusion about when the implementation happened, right? And so Mike Curley's here. He's our lieutenant in CID, the Criminal Investigation Division. He's been our point person for this whole program. We've been utilizing Flock for several years now, right? But the shot detection system they just came out with it not long ago, and they came to us. There's some reasoning, and he'll go through it as to why we got involved. But at the end of the day, and he'll get into all the specifics, but at the end of the day, it was for a trial period, the shot detection system, right? We already had Flock license plate reader cameras here in the city. These aren't cameras, it's shot detection. And so the mayor's office was briefed on a trial period, why we wanted to go into this, or why we wanted to enter into this trial period. The understanding after meetings with Flock was that the detection system was going to be implemented on existing infrastructure, just like the detection system that we have right now was implemented, right? So we didn't have any issues. There wasn't many questions with the detection system that we have right now. So we thought it was going to be, just another run-of-the-mill implementation, right? So the mayor's office agreed. Our department got with Flock and said, hey, let's go ahead and we'll enter into this agreement for the trial. And at that point, Flock contracted with a third-party company to put the detection equipment up in the city. That's where things fell apart a little bit. The third-party contractor ended up putting up poles and didn't put them on existing infrastructure and utilized the poles to put the equipment up. And that's where all the questions started coming in, because people started seeing poles going up. So now you had a pole on the right-of-way in front of your house, some of the poles were possibly blocking some signage, and there was just a lot of questions, right? So that's where the mayor's office stepped in and said, hey, there's some issues here, we gotta stop work. And work has been stopped at this point. And now we realize that there's some questions that need to be answered, and that's why we're here tonight. So Mike Curley's going to take over. Everybody has the fact sheets. Mike Curley will be here to answer any questions you have. But that's just kind of a quick snapshot of what happened.
And I don't know if Lieutenant Curley wants in on this, but there was a cost analysis and the difference of what can you just touch base on that as well, just to kind of get the monetary amount into why that was an incentive to go to Flock for that as well?
Yeah, I can get that in a sec. I just want to give a little historical context with respect to the technology program and the overall violence reduction program that we have. So in 2023, we entered into a program with Flock for license plate readers only at a cost of about $39,000 for 13 different LPR locations, or different cameras at 6 locations, because you have to have them shooting opposite ways if it's a large enough street, so you capture the entirety of the roadway. Then, a year later, we thought that it would be most advantageous to us in large events or other places that we need them if we needed further coverage to get what's called flex LPRs. Those are removable, solar-based LPRs that we can put out. So that brought our total context to 15 LPRs. Then something called the Law Enforcement Technology Grant came out in 2025. That was a large project. The state of New York put about $150 million into the state to get just things. Part of that, we wanted to increase our footprint. We felt most advantageous to us with respect to Flock and things like that. So we got another 10. So currently we stand at 25 Flock license plate reader systems across the city. Those were designated in what we call hotspot locations, determined by temporal and hotspot data where the shots fired are most prevalent in the city. It wasn't just a happenstance. We did a lot of data-driven stuff to figure out evidence-based stuff where we should most advantageously put these places with respect to where the shots were firing, where we think the cars would be leaving or entering into the area, and how they would assist us in investigations. So that's where we stand now. Then, about 18 months ago, we partnered with Sound Thinking and ShotSpotter to have an acoustic gunshot detection system in the city of Utica. That currently covers 2 square miles, again, as evidenced by the most prevalent locations where shots fired happened in the city of Utica, right? We did a lot of deep diving into where we had historical shots fired, where we had historical hotspots where we've had historical nuisance properties and things of that nature, and place those particular locations at those places. Just recently.
Kenny, I just question, just to make sure I got this in head. So you have the one that just, you got the 25 plate readers are out there that are just reading plates.
Right.
And then you got the other system that picks up the shots that are fired.
That's right.
And that's the shot system, right?
That's Shot Spotter. is
Shot
the
Spotter.
Nomenclature of the particular program.
And how many of those do you have out?
That is proprietary information that even Shot Spotter will not give us how many sensors they have around the city. It's 2 square miles of coverage.
Why wouldn't they tell you?
They will not. I don't think they want people knowing exactly how they triangulate their data. It's proprietary, and that's what their stance is.
So people won't avoid it.
All right, so.
And Jack, so those sensors pick up
It
all the
it
shots,
triangulates, right.
And they triangulate
Right.
and give a really credible location for where each shot took place. If there's multiple shots, they'll give a credible location where each shot took place. And it's all, has to do with triangulation, and it's proprietary, and that's why they don't want to let us know exactly where they put them and how many are out there, because then other competing companies could utilize that.
And one last thing on there, and I'll let you continue. Now, these shot spotter systems, they do not pick up human voices, is that correct?
They do not continuously record in an effort to pick up human voices. If there is an alert at the time and someone is speaking under a sensor that is alerted, it will give a very half a second to 1 second snapshot of a recording on that device. So to say that it can never pick up a human recording would be false, right? But it is not recording human conversation. It's not recording with the intent to capture anything but the triggering event, being gunfire, set off on that sensor.
And how many seconds does that run for?
It's instantaneous. We can certainly bring one up and play.
I'm-
It's within a second.
So the voice, where it picks up the voice is just for 1 second, you're saying?
You wouldn't even get an entire conversation. You may hear a
I'm
voice.
just trying to get it in my
You would
head.
have no context of what is being said.
Okay, I'm
Because
sorry.
it's not a long enough recording.
Can you just explain what an alert is and what that would actually detect?
Yeah, so part of the 2-mile system, with respect to ShotSpotter, come back to the Raven system with Flock in a second. With respect to shots, they have an algorithm initially that detects a loud sound, we'll say, that is akin to gunfire. We have had some false alerts, say a dumpster dropping, say fireworks, something of the nature that is of the same acoustic timbre that a gunshot would be that would set off that alert, right? We are very conscious to make sure that we alert them when it is a false alert so that it doesn't, 1, come in our statistics, and 2, we're not continuously responding to false alerts so they're improving their system. That is, whatever that is. So with ShotSpotter, that alert is picked up through their system. It goes into an AI system that further filters out anything that it believes not to be gunfire. And then they have a secondary alerting system that it goes through a human entity that then confirms what the AI system says. Once that all is confirmed, within a 60-second period, it is dispatched, or the officer self-dispatches. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so what I'm getting at is that you got a speaker over here, you got a speaker over here, you got a speaker over here. Boom, and here's a noise. The system goes live for a second, so it can triangulate exactly where it is. Right. It comes back to you guys, it tells you your whereabouts that gunshot was fired. Is that the gist of it?
In essence, I don't want to speak for them with respect to their technology, but that's exactly, it's going to give us the closest sensor and a distance from that sensor to the alert, and then give us within 90 feet of exactly where that gunfire is, and give us a dot.
Does everybody understand how the triangulate works?
Well, it almost sounds like Alexa with the buzzword.
Well,
Once you
if
say
it's coming-
Alexa, triggers the.
Wherever the noise is coming through, where they cross, where the beams cross, that's where it was shot. That's where the shot
Triangulate
was
isn't
fired.
exactly the right word, right? If we're going to get real specific, it's how many sensors picked up that sound in the area, and then which sensor was closest with respect to the time of the incident to the reverberation back to the sensor. So it could be 5 sensors, it could be 6 sensors. Say triangulate would institute only 3. It says how many sensors in that particular area.
And it'll just tell you the closest sensor that picked it up.
Yes.
And these really are not for preventing crime. What it does is it alerts you, it gets you there to maybe de-escalate the situation quicker, and also give you a better chance of catching who it is. What I hope this whole council is, I'm getting off the subject for a minute, we gotta realize these things are gonna get us to the place quicker. They're not gonna stop it. What we need is, we need more police. Crime is getting very bad in this area. I mean, Mohawk Street's had some incidents. We don't have enough police on the road. I hope everybody starts getting through their heads. I've been saying this since I've been on the council. I got on the council for safety. That was my main thing. This council's gotta start backing the police. The public's gotta start backing the police. That's the only way we're gonna stop crime. This is gonna de-escalate a problem. This maybe help us catch the people that did the problem, but it's not gonna stop the cause. Presence is only gonna stop the start of it. And everybody on this council's gotta start backing these people. The public's gotta start backing these people, because we're gonna have a serious problem 5 years down the road. And I sound like a broken record. We're not gonna have enough cop to bring in here and ask questions. That's it.
And if I may have the floor as well, unless are you still?
I have a lot more to say, but I'll
Yep.
certainly answer questions.
I'll hold it to the end.
Just real quick, then I'll surmise it quick. With respect to the councilman's things, prior to our I will call it the totality of our nonviolence, or our violence reduction strategy, we had over 200 shots fired in the 22-23 year. We're down to 60 shots fired in the calendar year of 2025. We had over 40 non-fatal shootings in that same period during COVID. We were down to 11 last year. We were down to 11 homicides at our height. We had 6, with 4 gunshot homicides. So the totality, and to that point, I believe that it is also a strong deterrent factor to know that we have these programs, as well as the couple with other things like that. Exactly. Probation has bracelets. We have this. We are looking into some other technological programs. So there are aspects that, in an argument, can say that we are reducing crime along with a strong, robust technology program. Those are just some statistics. I want to get back to the initial questions where we came prior to the thing. So about 6 months ago, Flock came to us and said, hey, we also have a gunshot detection system. You live in our ecosystem otherwise. Would you guys be willing to partner with us for a 6-month free trial to try our gunshot detection? So back to the deputy chief's thing, it's long. The poles aren't owned by the city of Utica. The physical pole, any non-metal pole, let's put it that way, any wood pole across the city, which are the majority of them, are owned in cooperation with telecommunications companies such as Verizon or AT&T, as well as National Grid. So without permitting, that takes almost 18 months to get a permit on a particular pole, not to mention the hundreds of poles that we need, would take 18 months each pole. If we had existing infrastructure, such as connect boxes or the arms that we own, right? We own all the, you guys know, we own the metal arms. You can put stuff on the metal arms as long as it doesn't hang over a DOT right-of-way. Once it hangs over the DOT right-of-way, we have additional permitting problems. So there's a big problem with putting stuff on existing infrastructure. So what's Flock's point was in here is that if we want to give you a 6-month trial that you can go arguably head-to-head with ShotSpotter in your contract period to see if you like our product and if our product would be advantageous going forward, we need to put these poles in as a trial basis, not as a permanent thing. We can come up with a permanent solution should, after extreme evaluation, decide which product we like better. We will determine exactly where the permanency of those poles will be. These poles are just for right now for the trial period to get up our sensors. There are about, with respect to Councilman's question, Flock will give us the number of sensors in totality. ShotSpotter will not. We have a stop order, so we're lacking about 35 poles currently. Once those are up, we will have a full 3-mile square coverage area of this particular system versus the 2-mile system of ShotSpotter. And it is a cost-benefit analysis, it is a usability analysis, it's a technology analysis. There's a whole lot of factors that are coming into which product we like better. And we won't know until it's really live, until we're going through it all.
I think we're about 70% complete of sensors that we're gonna go up have gone up. So 70% have gone up. There's about 30% that
Are the ones that have gone up working?
They are live and working. So, when you say working, Flock can detect accidents, loud screams, fireworks, and gunshots. We have disabled everything but gunshots. We don't care about anything else. We don't want to know about anything else. We're simply in a head-to-head trial versus 2 gunshot detecting systems. We as a police department We'll get dispatched to firework calls through the regular dispatch process. We'll get dispatched to car accidents through the regular dispatch process. Loud screams and fights, we'll get dispatched to the regular shop. We don't want to listen to those things. And two, we are only interested in a head-to-head comparison between two technology programs.
And you put that out in your original release.
Yes, we're certainly not trying to hide anything. So a lot of this was simply that we don't know what product we like better. So we didn't want to go wholly public and put two competing companies against each other. It was never our intent. We're not in a battle of economics. We're in a battle of what works better. Is it an economic advantage to us to get a further square mile for a little bit less coverage? Or is ShotSpotter such a superior product that it is worth having a little bit less coverage, but the product they provide is better? And that is what we're testing, and that is it.
Joe, I don't care.
Go ahead.
Everybody in my.
That's my speech.
So, let me ask a question. So we're talking about these poles. So when you made the contract or the agreement with this, you knew they were coming to put poles up? 1 minute,
No.
I thought you said you didn't know.
No.
So initially, in talks with Flock, they were supposed to go on, they were supposed to go on existing infrastructure, okay? But once the implementation process came about, it was a third-party vendor contractor was hired to put the sensors up. They came in, they realized that, hey, we're not gonna meet the deadline for the 6-month trial period if we put it on existing infrastructure because of the permitting process.
Okay.
So they made the decision to put up the aluminum poles that you see around in the city's right of way.
But they didn't tell anybody?
That was not, there was a communication failure.
Okay, so why, if we know the answer now, and we're 70% active, what's the holdup now?
Well, so there was, people were, there was some questions that were coming up. Hey, there's poles going up in front of my house. Why? What is this? It looks suspicious. It looks like it's some type of people were getting, they were worried. So the mayor's office started getting questions, complaints. They stopped it because they looked into it and noted that all the permitting that should have been done wasn't done by this third-party contractor. So he stopped the work. It's currently stopped. We're working through that process to find out exactly what needs to happen to make this right and hopefully restart the program.
Right. Well, obviously you gave the statistics for the last 3 years, and we're way down on gunshots and homicides, so I really can't understand why anybody would be, I don't know the word, apprehensive about somebody putting something up that's gonna make the city safer.
There's also a note that in our studies through 2 years of ShotSpotter, over 82% of gunfire does not get called into the 911 system. The only reason we're getting dispatched to gunfire is because of gunshot technology. And we've solved at least 3 lives, and we've made over 17 felony arrests.
And I would say, the fear factor with these here, up and around, people are thinking twice before they're running around on the street with a gun, shooting it, because most likely they're gonna be apprehended. So, thank you guys again for coming.
Councilman Bitar?
Yeah, just so sound thinking, ShotSpotter versus Flock. What was their elevator pitch other than cost? Why go with us? We do this, and that ShotSpotter doesn't do. Just wondering about that.
So we have an existing ecosystem within Flock. We are continuing to want to build that ecosystem based on the LPRs. It would, in some sense, make sense to have one vendor one vendor to pay, one vendor that may be cheaper, and two, just we have an existing ecosystem with respect to the software that we use, as well as then the hardware, and we're not always trying to, on a 2-year rotating basis, trying to sign different contracts.
Which, if we know, which company has been around longer? It was one first to the market with this technology, and then the other followed, or they kind of pop up around?
ShotSpotter's been around longer with respect to the gunshot detection in of itself. They're about even in existing in the world for time frame.
Lieutenant Curley, as far as the mile range goes as well, Flock was able to range further than Spot Shooter was as well.
Currently, right.
So, I mean, even if you're talking about cost analysis, I think that range and what you're paying for might have less detection systems because you're able to go further with the city with the...
So that was probably one of the points that Flock made. Hey, we could cast a wider net.
I wasn't in those discussions, but I would assume that just based on that analysis, they were able to go further range.
Our statistical analysis showed that we're looking for a 3-mile radius. we're looking for that 3 mile coverage. We have a 2 mile coverage with ShotSpotter. Flock knew that and was able to offer us the 3 for that trial period, and that's why we're looking to get that 3 mile coverage. Yeah.
Have you run into any problems where,
Frank,
you've got these?
I got, Katie's next. Go ahead, Katie.
I didn't see her raise her hand or anything.
She did.
Sorry, why don't you finish and I'll go after you.
I was just wondering, have you
I'll
had
get you in
any
a sec.
problems when
No,
you
I-
had these shot warnings? The heck, Jack?
Go ahead. She had asked to ask a question, but go ahead.
What the fuck? Have you had a problem where you haven't had enough, like, officers to answer these calls yet? Or, like, you haven't had enough patrol, like you had, maybe got 2 or 3 different shots fired at once and you only got 2 patrol cars on? Has that happened yet?
I will let the deputy chief answer with respect to staffing and things like that.
So no, that hasn't been an issue as far as, so call volume varies throughout every shift, right? So at some points during the shift, we might be voluminous with cars, and there might not be a ton of calls that are either current calls or pending calls, but so, and it varies throughout the shift. At times, we're thin, right? I mean, there's the call volume is voluminous, and we may not have enough cars, and calls are backing up.
Or you
There's
might
also
leave a call
times.
to go to the shot. You might be doing something and have to leave to go to.
I mean, that happens all.
That does happen,
Quite
but at this point, we're not seeing any serious manpower issues as far as not being able to put police officers in cars. Not at this point. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, sort of.
But it all depends on what type of call volume we're getting at that time.
Good, Frank? Okay, Katie.
Thank you. I just want to reiterate, none of my concerns about this are about the police aspect of the system or about whether or not we should have gunshot audio detection. It's really coming down specifically to flock safety. And I provided both white papers, and it discusses over 50 findings on the flock safety vulnerabilities and compromises, and I can share with the rest of the council as well, and that's something we can follow up. It's about 87 pages long, so we can follow up at another time. But I think a lot of people, when we're talking about this, is as long as we are worried about people's safety, a lot of that is also their privacy, and these have been known to be compromised easily, very easily. And I think a lot of people are assuming that this is just a trustworthy system automatically. I think we'll find out, but some things I want to address, I guess, when I was looking at the policy that we have for these things, one of the things that I think that we should have, and I don't know if you already do, what is the incident response plan if it's hacked? Who investigates it? Is it shut down? Is the public notified? Are those anything that you can speak to now, or should I?
I cannot, and I, with respect to Flock, I would ask that their experts
Sure.
provide
I'd love
some
to
of
know.
that information to you if they have an overall policy. Certainly either alleviate or try to answer, or if not.
Well, do we have a means to detect if the devices are compromised?
So they are pretty robust with respect to a functioning device. I'm not sure if there's an alert internally to say, hey, it's not functioning because of a hack or because of something like that.
So
I would again refer to their.
Flock does have a representative that will and is willing to come out and talk to common council, any community representative that wanted to
Sure.
talk. We could certainly reach out and set a date and time, and they're more than willing to come and answer questions.
I'd appreciate that.
Did Spotswood ever come? Did they ever come to like the city and give a presentation, or just?
They are more than willing to. They've been here dozens and dozens of times to meet with us, so they're not adverse to coming.
Have you guys had flock compromised at all throughout your dealings with them, as far as the system that you have in place now?
Not that we're aware of in any capacity.
Are you done, Katie?
Never handled it.
Yeah, as far as, I just find them to be data brokers more than they are in the interest of security, and that is, I would love to speak with them, and that would be great. Thank you.
Totally understand. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Venice, you're next.
I'm getting a lot of questions about the data sharing, and I see you got on here that data sharing is controlled by the department. Well, what's happening is a lot of people are looking online at this particular detection, and they're saying that a lot of the information is shared with federal agencies, including ICE and other federal agencies. So do you guys have a policy on what you're going to do with that? Are you going to share with federal agencies?
We not only have a policy internally that we've released numerous times with respect to the city overall, but as far as the hardware, we have turned off all sharing with federal agencies. We do not partner with them in any reciprocal sharing of LPR data in any fashion.
Okay. So what I would like to see is as you go along with with this particular program, that the council does get a report on if you do start or if you don't start.
We have absolutely no intention, and in fact, the system has been administratively turned off to allow sharing with federal partners.
Okay, thank you.
But if it ever changes,
Yes.
yes.
All right, thank you.
Piggybacking off of that, is there any agreements with the state, or you said just federal? So state does have access?
Within 200 miles, the system is set to a default to automatically share. Like, the whole purpose of the system is that if a crime happens in one locale, you can then either track that vehicle and or be aware that a hot list is what it's called, has been entered in, that plate is wanted for a particular crime, or that individual is wanted who is the registered owner. So it is advantageous to us to have that geofencing where we have that on all the time. Anything outside of 200 miles, that particular jurisdiction and or law enforcement agency has to physically request sharing data. We vet each and every request individually. We haven't found a reason to not really, with
Do you
respect
get a lot
to-
of requests?
They come in batches, right? So it really is dependent on who's signing with Flock, or if they're new. If they've been existing, they probably already are in the sharing network.
Yeah, thank
They come at times.
All right, any other questions, Joe?
Just one. So Flock itself, do they have a data sharing policy? I think a couple of years ago you were on the radio discussing rings.
Yeah.
Ring cameras, they changed their policy a couple of years ago. How does that work within the company?
Flock does.
Yeah.
However, Flock does not own the data. Everything you see with respect to those things have been foilable requests, from our understanding, right? Have been foilable requests that a particular entity or several entities have partnered together to collate that data to put it on a website. So it is not shared from Flock. It has been shared from multiple government agencies that an individual has taken the time to then push that shared data out. We own all the data. So all the sharing is at our request, our behest. If we determine it to be useful in the criminal justice system, we do not push that out in any capacity. Flock does not own any data in order that they could even share it if they want.
You mentioned something too. How would that work for FOIL requests related to that data? Has that been approached or broached or discussed?
It is purged unless we save it after 30 days. So when a FOIA request comes in, there's a good chance that unless that has been saved with respect to an ongoing criminal investigation, which couldn't be FOIAble anyway because it's an open investigation, that data has been purged from the system, there's no longer accessible. So by the time the FOIL came in, was processed, and went through, it wouldn't be available anyway.
Sam, go ahead.
Lieutenant Curley, is there anything else that you wanted to add in that you might have heard from the public that could possibly, put at ease to the public that's paying attention, and anybody that's reporting on the news, what you put out in your release, that discussions that we had today could be summarized and maybe just wrap up, like the difference between the Flock system that we had before, the Flock system that we have now, and really, understanding that this isn't, we're not just putting it up to put these things up. There's a reason for it, and there's data behind it.
Yeah, just real quick with Flock, they have been super proactive with respect to upgrading their systems, to increasing safety, increasing security, and pushing out, obviously their company, right? Their job is to make their customers feel alleviated that those kind of sharing techniques are both legal and not out there. They've done a great job. They've upgraded all their systems. It used to run on, not to get, a certain Android system. They've upgraded to the latest Android system that has more protections. I know the concerns are out there. All I can say locally is we have had none of those problems. I cannot speak to Flock as a company in general. Nationwide, we haven't had any issues. We haven't had any breaches. We haven't had any concerns about sharing. And I think the biggest thing is that it is just a 6-month trial period with respect to Flock. There is a whole lot less data collected from gunshot detection than there is from LPR. And in the 3 years that we've had LPR, we have had absolutely no concerns from the public with respect to our having Flock systems and the crimes they've solved. I personally believe that a lot of this is just as a result of those poles being very visible in very visible locations, unsightly for one, and concerning because we probably did not do a great job of getting out there ahead of this. It came to us. We're now trying to do it better. But it was a lot of because it wasn't a system that we had totally sold into yet. It's a trial period. We were weighing our options with respect to 2 different vendors, and we didn't know what we wanted, and what's the point of talking about something that never comes to fruition in 6 months and we're getting rid of anyway? We created a whole lot of buzz for nothing. We are very happy with ShotSpotter, very, very happy with ShotSpotter. It's yet to be determined what something, or what Flock gives us that ShotSpotter doesn't, except for maybe a little more coverage and respect to cost. That's obviously a business negotiation. And I just would like to say that all of this funding comes from grant-related services. It comes from the DCGS Give Grant, it comes from the LA Tech Grant that we talked about, and it comes from a violent crime reduction rural technology grant. None of this is municipal monies. It's not in a budget from the police department. We at no point have any intention of asking for any kind of municipal funding from this. Obviously, it affects the public, so it's good to know, but the money will all be coming budgeted through proposals that have been vetted through both the police department and DCGS and approved, and that's how we're spending money on these different technologies.
All right, last questions going around. Anyone?
I don't got any questions. Thank you for all the work that you guys do.
Appreciate you guys coming in as well.
I just want to verify that in 6 months, say we love this and this is great, how it would be grant funded? Is that how, and how much would it cost, and just ideally?
So numbers are varied, right? Numbers vary
Yep.
by time. Currently, the bill due in 2028, so when it's kind of a revolving cycle, every 3 years. So we sign, what our term of contract with Flock is every 3 years. So this year, you want to know the total cost of everything we're paying for, or just the gunshot detection?
Just, yeah, total would probably.
Both answers?
Both.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 7/1 of 26, we're gonna owe 39,000 for 13 LPRs. 7 next, so our give cycle runs 7/1 to 6/30, right? So that's how we budget our technology. 7/24, 27, we're gonna owe 7,000 for the 2 flex LPRs, which are the portable ones. 3/14, 28, we're gonna owe for the LA Tech Grant, for the 10 LPRs, and the additional one. 2028 is when the audio detection bill would come due. Currently, obviously, we're a ways away from 2028, but the price quote at this point for 3 square miles is 105,000. It's a bit more for 2 square miles with sound thinking, and that is certainly a consideration that we have to take into account with respect to the totality of the projects and what is the most advantageous to us both financially as well as a software and hardware perspective.
How are you guaranteed the grants are going to come in and cover?
We're not. We're certainly not, and that is a value we have to make. You know, we are pretty much guaranteed through the extent of this state administration, and this is the 3rd administration that has saw that gun violence reduction as a priority through the state of New York. And overall, it's only $36 million compared to a $9 billion budget, so it's a real drop in the bucket. You know, obviously, $36 million is a lot, but when you look at the totality, to be able to push for something that's really affecting communities, I don't think they're going to get rid of it. There is another tech grant alleged to be coming out this year that would give us a significant amount of money. We got about 900,000 last time in 2025. I think we'll be asking for somewhere around that. If we get that, we'll be funded for a 5-year period with respect to all this stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys coming in and sharing everything.
Well, I'd like to thank you gentlemen for coming in and telling us what you know and for being on top of this. And if you hear anything else coming in, please feel free to come and share it with us. And in the meantime, thank you very much.
I just want to say one thing, like, in the police department and these, well, I mean, it's important to know that they are here and they're accessible. I mean, there's not a time that you could not call one of them and ask for this information before you go public with that. So again, I mean, any officer that I've talked to, or especially Lieutenant Curley and Deputy Chief Holt and Chief Williams, like, they are there for questions that you have before things get blown out of proportion, to actually get the accurate information to put it out. So that's why it was important for you guys to come tonight and dispel any misinformation.
And I want to
that's
say
out
I
there.
agree and thank you. And I know Chief Williams isn't here, but I got to talk with him for about an hour last week and appreciated that even on his time off. And thank you for all you guys do.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like to move to close this pre-meeting. Can I get a second?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, meeting's over.
People.
First, please take your seats.
Yes.
Council members, please take your seats. This meeting will come to order. The city clerk will call the roll.
Aiello, Burmaster, Bitar, Carcone, Irvin, Beatrice, Wazlewski, Classimo Testa, Lemetico, Jeruzzi, present.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for the deceased members of the Common Council. Is there a second? Is there a motion and a second to dispense the reading of minutes from the previous meeting?
Motion?
Thank you.
We have a public hearing tonight on the purpose of sale on West Street in Steuben. We have one speaker, Francis Brown.
First, I want to be clear that I am for the building of the Utica Thrive project, but the lots up for sale by the Urban Renewal Agency on the Steuben side are part of the Martin Luther King Park. If I am reading this legal notice correctly, the buyer Impact Cornhill LLC plans to use the lots for the construction, then it should be converted to parking for the Impact Center. If it was going back to a park, I would be fine with it. But turning it into another parking lot, I'm not okay with it. We should be building parks, not selling them off. Granted, the Impact Center is putting in a 9,000 square foot impact recreation space, but it will be the use of the Impact Center only, not to the general public. The general public will lose about 13,636 square feet. Do the math. Does that make any sense? What's really going to hurt me is the two old trees that will have to come down. I wrote my second or third council speech under them trees, getting the vibe and courage of the man that the park is named after. Where do you think I got the idea of I had the dream speech? We are selling it for a mere $100. The mayor says we are in economic crisis and willing just to take $100 for 13,600 square feet, a land assessed value of about $4,800, and that's not even the full value. One of the trees alone is worth way more than $100. So Utica is getting the raw end of this deal. Granted, Utica has to thrive, but not at the cost of our green spaces. So, no matter what I say, you're going to pass this, but it's going to show Utica that you have no care for our park system. What's next? Start selling off Proctor Park? And that's what I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. You want to vote on this right now? Yep.
Motion to pull ordinance 5.
Yeah. Okay, I have a motion and a second to pull from committee.
Motion.
Thank you. A resolution authorizing motion and second for proposed resolution number 5. Yeah, ordinance. Yep.
Second.
Yep. Ordinance approving the designation of Impact Cornhill LLC as an eligible and qualified project sponsor pursuant to Article 15 of the General Municipal Law for the purpose of the sale of 318.6-211 West Street and 318.66-2-50, 318.66-2-51, and 318.66-252 Steuben Street for $100. Whereas the purchase of offer for this property has been received by the Utica Urban Renewal Agency from Impact Cornhill LLC, and the developer proposes to purchase the lot for $100 for a payment of $100. Votes, please.
9 yeas adopted.
Public comment period allows for 3 minutes per speaker. Our first speaker is Francis Brown. Francis, County Council has provided you a copy of Section 3244 public comment period. Are you in agreement with the rule?
Yep.
Thank you.
Free speech, the bedrock of American democracy, should not be infringed upon ever. The public comment rule 3-2-22D2 is unconstitutional underneath the Sullivan case law. Those who won our independence believed that public discussion is a political duty and that it should not be a fundamental principle of the American government. They recognize that the risk of which all human institutes are subject, but they know that the order cannot be secured merely throughout fear of punishment for its infraction. That is a hazardous to discourage thought, hope, and imagination. The fear breeds representation, and that representation brings hate. And that hate menaces stable government, and that path of safety lies in the opportunity to discuss freely supposed grievances and propose remedies. Justice Breen delivered this opinion from the Sullivan case 376 U.S. 254-270. With that, when is the city actually going to take action to protect the common and low-class citizens, much as the campaign contributing community? The Common Council has passed all ordinances they want, but not enforced. What good are they? Last meeting, the registry of vacant properties was just for show, put on for the fire on Genesee Street, not a couple hundred yards from these chambers. The boarding ordinance passed recently must have been a fail if someone entered that building. I'm still waiting on the city to hold these bad actors like the 18th floor partners and their multi-shell companies accountable for their numerous properties. Due to urban renewal owning most of these properties at one point, I think something shady is going on. It's hard to get to the bottom with the threat of trespass if I go into urban renewal. What was I given a reason? No. Am I entitled to due process? Yes. 18th floor, just like the city is about to learn, once I start paperwork, I do not stop. No deals, but a nice trial to expose the truth. The bricks will fall one by one. The Utica Police deadline on my notice of intent I gave
Francis, you're going to
new
have to
Deputy
finish up,
Hope
please.
last meeting is just about up. The sergeant blinding me with that spotlight while doing a
That's it, Francis. We're
constitutional
done.
and New
Your
York
time's
State
up.
legally
Let's go,
protected
Francis.
activity. Is my
Francis,
time actually up?
Your time is up. 3 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll continue this on Facebook to all my fans.
Next speaker, Ron Vincent.
Naughty.
Ron, the Common Council has provided you a copy of Section 3244, public comment period. Are you in agreement?
Yes, I am.
Thank you, Ron.
My name's Ron Vincent. I want to thank our DPW department. Over across from Kennedy School, there were 2 trucks and 2 drivers over there today picking up all kinds of waste all over the ground. Spring is here. They did a nice job. A lot of that stuff is garbage that's blown all over because people don't know how to maintain their buckets. But a lot of it is also by the people that come there every single morning to drop their kids off at school and then take their litter bags and go and shake them outside the car. I wish something could be done to stop some of that, but I know it can't. Also, Monday, there were 3 gentlemen in a truck from the DPW at my house. I have a big creek in the backyard of my house. And they were down inside the creek picking up limbs and branches and things that could clog the pipes. They went around to probably all the creeks in North Utica to do the same thing. They're pretty religious about that, and they do a damn good job. I really like to thank the DPW Parks Department for what they do. But springtime is coming. There's going to be all kinds of crap all over. The wind was terrible. And with the flooding issues coming, if anybody's going over into North Utica on their way home tonight, do not go down Weirs Ave. On my way over to the meeting, half the street was flooded out. I went over to Mohawk River. It's going over the banks, and it'll be flooding out Weirs Ave real good. We have a big flooding issue due to the Mohawk River. About 3 years ago, I went to a meeting in Rome, New York. There was a New York State DOT and a bunch of other organizations there, and they were talking about the Mohawk Valley flooding issues and all the ideas they had to fix things. One of the things I suggested to them, and they were pretty well aware of it, was to dredge the Mohawk River. Because if you go down Dyke Road and you go over the Mohawk River, the water's running maybe 1 to 2 feet deep. Up here by the canal zone, the water's probably about 30 feet deep. That's why this area gets flooded so badly, and especially the Weirs Ave area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron. Our next speaker, Bodan Rabarski. Bodan, Common Council has provided you a copy of Section 3244, public comment period. Are you in agreement?
Yes.
Thank you.
2026 marks the 110th anniversary of the annexation of the southern part of Deerfield to form what is now North Utica. What is the largest district of Utica contains a thruway, which is a gateway to the Adirondack Mountains and beyond. It contains the Erie Canal, the Mohawk River, and now recently reopened Harbor Point. After some research, I found in 1909, a well-known Utica civil engineer, John R. Baxter, devised a plan to utilize an oxbow segment of the former Mohawk River as a harbor. In 1911, the New York State Legislature approved his plan at an estimated cost of $695,000. Construction of the Utica Harbor connecting the Barge Canal in its entirety was completed in 1918. The lock at Utica is the only one in the entire canal system that is outside the main channel, serving only the branch that leads to the harbor. Along with the 2 hotels that are projected to be built are also 120 housing units overlooking the water, a 40,000 square foot entertainment complex, which will also be included in the U District vision for Utica. Many East and West Utica residents took advantage of the home building boom of 1954 through 1968, where once stood farmland, now stand single-family homes. Over the years, many invested in businesses have opened up, including recently announced 2 coffee shops coming into North Utica. To celebrate the annexation, the North Utica Neighborhood Association is planning a party on Saturday, May 16th at 1 p.m. at the North Utica Community Center on Riverside Drive. All of you will be receiving your invitations, but for now I want to let you know to mark your calendar. The Weaver family was the biggest landowner in what is now North Utica. They still have homes in use and streets are named after them. I thought it would be an honor to find a descendant of the Weaver family. Well, with a little help from the Nuna family and social media, I was able to find a descendant living in Poland, New York. I have spoken with him and plan on visiting him next week, and he's agreed to attend our celebration. I want to end with a little bit of history about the annexation that many citizens might not be aware of. The information I have is from a book by Deerfield town historian Virginia Loyne called Deerfield, New York, A Glimpse into the Past, and from Howard Bushinger's book on North Utica called The Look Back in Time. There were 3 reasons why Utica annexed the land from Deerfield. 1, in 1891, 249 acres were annexed to straighten the Mohawk River and control the flooding over the railroad tracks. The large annexation of 4,100 acres occurred in 1916, which is why we're celebrating the 110th anniversary, and that's what formed North Utica. 2, the small town of Deerfield didn't have the funds to replace the Leland Ave Bridge over the Erie Canal. Before the annexation, Leland Ave was called Miller Road. Utica replaced the bridge, and part of the annexation renamed Miller Road to Leland Ave. Coincidentally, before annexation, Wirtz Ave was called Proposed Street. 3, it would give Utica control of the Deerfield side of the railroad tracks that contained brothels in the area referred to Hoboken, and it gave Utica the authority to tear them all down. I leave you with that bit of history, and hope I see everybody there.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Carolyn McLeese. Hi, Carolyn. Common Council has provided you a copy of Section 3244, Public Comment Period. Are you in agreement?
Yes.
Thank you.
Don't like it? Why don't you just put up a sign at the entrance to the city that says the 3-mile center of the city is under total surveillance. License plate readers, things right in front of your house that pick up conversations. And it's not even foilable unless you do it within 30 days, so you say. And what is Flock doing with the information, with the data? You say you own it. I don't think so. Thank you.
Thank you.
We do not have a guest speaker, no communication from the mayor. Report of city officers. We'll start with our budget director, Elmer Keltec.
Nothing to report, thank you.
Thank you. Stephanie DeGiorgio, Corporation Counsel.
Nothing to report.
Mark Sokolowski, our DPW Commissioner.
Yeah, I got a couple of things. I just want to let everybody know that we start, you guys all got your postcards April 12th, green waste. I know people are putting it out now. We saw a lot of it last night floating around in the city, going down the street. Number two, last night my five sewer department guys were out there for 15 hours and we had minimum flooding. And I appreciate the hard work they did for those 5 guys. And the Parks Department as well with the litter. We are out there doing blacktop. And lastly, I want to congratulate my secretary, Danielle, who's going to take over the Human Resource Department. We're going to miss her, but you can't leave people. You got to let them do what they want to do. And I always told her, just go for what you need. So we're going to miss her, but hopefully she doesn't rat me out in the Human Resource Department. That's all. That's all I got.
Thanks, Commish. Deputy Chief Holt.
Just real quick, so I know there are some concerns, that there's been some incidents over at Proctor Park and we call it Plaza East, but it's 1122 Mohawk Street. It's McDonald's Plaza, Hannaford Plaza. So I know there's been some concerns there over the last week, a couple incidents. I know Proctor Park had a few fights. Plaza East had a few, issues there. We do have a plan with the good weather coming up and with spring break on the horizon here. So starting on Friday, we'll have increased patrols, UTV patrols in Proctor Park, and we'll also have designated targeted patrols at Plaza East from Friday through, so this coming Friday through Sunday of next week. So that whole spring break period there, we're anticipating, a lot of kids out on the streets, things like that. So we'll have increased patrols to deal with any problems out there. The patrols at Proctor Park will be dependent on weather. So if there is going to be, if the inclement weather is projected, we won't have the patrols that day. It just wouldn't make sense, right? But if weather is, going to be cooperative, we'll have the UTV out there. And then for Plaza East, our proactive unit, the tactical unit, they'll be handling the designated patrols there at Plaza East. We have talked with the Plaza manager and also the owner of McDonald's, let them know what's going on so that they know that we have a plan and we're addressing the issue. So that's all I got.
I just have one.
Thank you, Deputy Chief.
One quick question. Council President Dritzy, were they school-age kids or were they older? Or was it a combination of both? Because I saw that there was one person that was arrested at Mohawk Street that was 20.
For the last incident there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was some school age and then other not school age.
Lieutenant Curley?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. There is no cash report. Petitions, remonstrances, and appeals. We'll start with First District Council Member Katie Al.
Thank you, Mr. President. Happy first fiscal day of the year, everyone. Big day. But Elmir, I know this isn't really Q&A time, but is the new budget already posted to Munis?
It's going to be posted by Friday.
Okay, thank you.
Well, yeah. I'll probably be here Friday.
Oh, well, hopefully you have your holiday off too as well, but thank you. That is all I have.
Thank you. Second District Council Member Robert Burmaster.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just so you know, next Wednesday, West Utica, 5 Points, 6 o'clock. I don't know what the topic is because I didn't have a chance to read my phone. I've been here for the last couple hours, but I want to echo on what the commissioner said about the sewers. One of my neighbors actually did my sewer the other night, and I was surprised because he's a young kid and I didn't expect it. But it doesn't hurt. You live on a corner. It doesn't hurt me or my family to go out and take care of my sewer, but it makes a difference. Clean your roads,
and it should be on the DPW. They do a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Third District Council Member, President Pro Temp and Committee of the Whole Chair, Joseph Bitar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple comments in our committee meeting earlier. It was a pleasure to have a representative come in from the Oneida Herkimer Solid Waste Authority. I certainly learned a lot, and having UPD come in to explain, learned a lot there as well. And from the looks of it, over the next month or so, it looks like we are going to have some other committee meetings on a variety of different issues. So looking forward to that, because each of these committee meetings, listening to individuals speak and discuss and give their perspective and their background on certain issues, I enjoy, for no other reason, learning for my personal knowledge, and it's always helpful to have more information. So again, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Council Member. Fourth District Council Member, Frank Kirkholm. Thank you. Fifth District Council Member, Venice Irvin.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the DPW department. I've been watching them. They've been really out working hard on the parks, especially up by the parkway. I saw them cleaning that up. That was pretty good. Thank you for the Utica Police Department coming tonight. There were a lot of questions that residents had about some of the things that they saw going up. So I think you gave them a little bit of information tonight, but it would be nice if you get the more information out just to the residents. What I read tonight answered a lot of my questions, and I'll get as much out as I can at my next neighborhood meeting. So thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Sixth District Council Member, Joseph Beatrice.
Thank you, Mr. President. So Mr. Vincent stole my comments. I was going to thank Mr. Sokolowski. I know I am probably a pain to him with my emails and requests, so I tried to save him on Friday. I called Mike Ferraro from the school district and told him the mess in front of Kennedy needs to be picked up, since you guys plow all the snow into the banks, and they usually did it. And this morning I was going to email him again and say you forgot. When I went by, it was already picked up. So thank you, and sorry to be a pain all the time, but you guys do a great job, and your parks team does too. I would like to recognize the Notre Dame High School girls varsity basketball team. They were eliminated in the state championship 2 weeks ago, making their third consecutive appearance in the state finals. 2 years ago, they captured the state championship, which is an incredible accomplishment. Reaching that level year after year is a testament to their hard work and dedication, and I want to commend them on that. I have invited them to the council chambers where I will be presenting a proclamation at the time that works with their schedule. Lastly, I would like to recognize my wife's aunt, who's also became my aunt, Vicky Paratano, who passed away this past week. Vicky began working for the city of Utica around 1960 in the purchasing department before moving into the assessor's office, where she spent the remainder of her career. A few years prior to her retirement, she was named the first female assessor of the city of Utica, an achievement which she and her family were incredibly proud of. I'd like to say, Aunt Vicky, rest in peace. I'm sure you're up there taking care of your family just the way you always did. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Council Member. Council Member at Large, Heather Waslewski.
I don't have anything for today except for thank you for coming out and explaining everything tonight. Also, I did want to say, their department's not here, engineer. Nick's done a great job answering my calls on lights. He's always gets back to me within like a few minutes. So Nick, if you're watching, thank you. And that's it. Thanks for that.
Thank
Mr.
you.
President.
Council Member at Large and Minority Leader Samantha Calismo-Testa.
I got nothing this evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Council Member at Large and Majority Leader Jack Lemedico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to thank the police department coming down and explain the shots and the flock system. I think it's a good system, or which one you use. You think about it, it replaces police officers that we don't have on the street that we're short at this time. They make up for a lot of issues out there, and it catches the bad guys. You know, if you're driving around and you're worried about that you're getting your license plates tagged, well, if you're not breaking laws, you don't have anything to worry about. So thank you very much on that. Mark, thank you for taking care of those street lights this week for you. Very much appreciated. That's it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, council member. Can I have a motion and a second to introduce proposed ordinance number 1?
Motion?
E&A transfer fiscal year 2025-2026, be it ordained that the controller for the city of Utica is hereby authorized and directed to make the following transfer of funds. Account A5817.402, street cleaning supplies for fire retirement, Teamsters Health, and police retirement for $367,585.55. Votes, please.
9 yeas adopted.
Motion and a second to introduce proposed resolution number 2.
Motion?
Thank you.
Authorizing sale of beer and wine to St. Mary of Mount Carmel, Blessed Sacrament Parish. St. Mary of Mount Carmel, Blessed Sacrament Parish Festival, Friday, July 16th, 2026, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Saturday, July 17th, from 5 to 10 p.m. Sunday, July 18th, from 12 to 3 p.m. Location, St. Mary of Mount Carmel, Blessed Sacrament Parish, 648 J Street, Utica, New York, 13501. Votes, please.
9 yeas adopted.
Can I have a motion and a second to introduce proposed resolution number 3?
Motion?
Thank you.
A proclamation honoring the Future Stars Kresnik Soccer Club inaugural U14 girls team, whereas the city of Utica recognizes the importance of youth sports in fostering teamwork, discipline, leadership, and confidence among young people. Whereas Future Stars Kresnik Soccer Club has demonstrated a commitment to developing young athletes and strengthening community ties through inclusive and accessible soccer programming. Whereas in October of 2025, the club established its first ever all-girls team, the Future Stars Kresnik Soccer U14 girls team, making a significant milestone in expanding opportunities for girls in athletics within our community. Whereas the creation of this team reflects the dedication of coaches, family, players, and a community that has all worked diligently to build program, promote, and inclusion and empowering young women in sports. Whereas the team represents the spirit and diversity of City of Utica, bringing together young athletes from across the community and contributing to the continued growth of youth soccer in the region. Whereas the Future Stars Kresnik Soccer U14 girl team serves as an inspiration for future generations. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Utica Common Council hereby recognizes and honors the Future Stars Kresnik Soccer Club U14 girls team for its season and its contributions to youth development and community pride. Be it further proclaimed that the Common Council extends its best wishes for continued success to the players, coaches, families in this outstanding program. Votes, please.
I just wanted to ask briefly, you didn't want to invite them in? Or are you just going to present them with the proclamation?
We'll just present it to them.
Okay, I don't mind being a co-sponsor to that as well.
Yeah, if we can do full council. Thank you.
Full council?
If everybody's fine with that.
9 yeas adopted.
You have a motion and a second to introduce proposed ordinance number 4.
Motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you.
E&A transfer fiscal year 2025-2026 be ordained that the controller for the city of Utica is hereby authorized and directed to make the following transfer of funds: miscellaneous revenue, $257,000 for the Ski Hill project, $257,000. To incorporate additional funds to the Ski Hill project using ARPA interest. Votes, please.
9 yeas adopted.
I'd like to make a motion to put resolution number 5 in a committee.
Second.
Anyone opposed?
Why are we putting it in committee?
So here's the thing. For this one, the resolution authorizing the supplemental military leave, that's right. So that's number 5.
Yes, it is. It's number
Yes,
5.
it is. Authorizing.
Yeah, I mean that's
No,
just
I
putting that in
concur.
committee.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. No one's opposed. Commit. Can I have a motion and a second to introduce proposed resolution number 6?
For proposed resolution number 6, did you just want to make an amendment and put the name of the person that you were putting in that position?
Yeah.
So as long as, I know you were saying you were designated somebody for that, I just wanted to ask if you just wanted to clarify that she was one in that role of that responsibility.
She's been doing it, yes. So she's gonna stay doing it for as long as she's.
Okay, but you're okay with it just saying city clerk rather than
Yes,
designated
yes.
person? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
A resolution to approve the appointment of the Utica City Clerks as Records Access Officer for the City of Utica, resolved that pursuant to Section 22122 of the City Code of Ordinances, the City Clerk is hereby appointed Records Access Officer who shall perform the duties set forth in Article 5 of the City Code of Ordinances until such time as said appointment has been rescinded. The city clerk may designate a person within the city clerk's office to perform the duties of the records access officer under the city clerk's supervision. This appointment and approval should be effective immediately. Votes, please.
9 yeas adopted. Thank you.
Do we get to pull ordinance number 3 out of committee?
Yep. Can I get a motion in a second?
Second.
Yep. Okay. Ordinance amending Section 22648 regarding sewer rents be ordained that the Section 22648 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Utica fixing the amount of sewer rents is hereby amended to read as follows. Monthly billing, cubic feet, first 1,500, cost per 100 cubic feet will be 2.433. Next, 18,500 cubic feet, cost will be 2.032. Next is 280,000 cubic feet, cost 1.697. Next, 1,200,000 cubic feet, cost 1.380. And the last one, 1,500,000, cost 0.934. Votes, please.
9 yeas adopted.
And Mr. President, a motion to dispense ordinance 4 in committee.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Dispense.
Just a point of order before we close the meeting. Obviously, resolution number 2, with the fees established, we didn't pass anything, so whatever's on the book now is what we have to go by. We still have softball coming up, tennis, there's several things that need to be addressed inside that ordinance. So if we want to call a committee meeting, I would suggest the fee schedule for that. Obviously, the derelict property registry and the vacant property registry that's on the books. And then the only other one was the resolution for the military leave. So following Tuesday after
Do you
spring
guys
break,
want to call a special meeting or
that would be a committee.
committee meeting?
I mean, that way we give
Let's,
people.
I think we might be better served following up via email and picking a day for each of those topics, because some of them are going to take several hours, I think, versus some might take a half hour. So I think we might have to get outside of our
Right, for
Wednesday.
Tuesday, I mean, I'm
meeting.
okay with Tuesday.
Yeah,
so
but
just as
I
an
would recommend send an email so
Oh.
everyone can give their times,
No,
so
the
they
following
look at their schedule before making a decision tonight.
Right, so I'm okay with the following Tuesday. I think it's the 14th of April.
The day before our regular council meeting, our next
Yeah.
regular council
Yeah, I
meeting.
mean, that way if we have to vote on anything or have any requests for the department heads to be there on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Do we have a quorum availability?
That's all I'm saying. That would just be that Tuesday, the 14th, just to send it out.
Repeat the date and time for the clerk.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with any time. Whatever everybody's.
5 o'clock.
April 14th.
The 14th.
And we could do it in increments of everybody's time of who we gotta.
All right, we'll put an agenda together.
Joe's probably gonna need a couple of days then.
No, I agree. I think we're gonna need several committee meetings for everything that is coming up.
Do you have a motion and a second to adjourn? Yep, adjourn.